CBC, the defensive master, Dave Ritchie, is still working on his piece, but a couple of players already leap out from the canvas. The play of James West belies the fact that at 36, he is the oldest player on the team. And O.J. Brigance, only 3 years into his career, but the league's leading sacker, promises to be one of the greats. Then there's Les Brown, the CFL's all-time leading pass interceptor. So tonight, picture tough defense, and you may have the story.
The CFL on CBC. Tonight, from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, the BC Lions against the Edmonton Eskimos.
The Eskimos are expecting their largest crowd of the season tonight, and wouldn't that be consistent with a winning football team? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commonwealth Stadium for a game that has about as much riding on it as one can 5 weeks into the season. The Eskimos have to win to keep pace with the unbeaten Calgary Stampeders, and the Lions require a victory in order to keep pace with the Eskimos. The contest is also personally important to one of the CFL's most exciting players. Henry Gizmo Williams is a threat to break open a big return each time he fields a punt. Unofficially, he is already the league's greatest all-time punt returner. Now he's on the verge of making it official. In his career, 7 years, Gizmo has run back 19 punts for touchdowns, 2 of them this year. He is 163 yards away from the yardage record. The Lions caution they'll kick the ball away from Williams tonight, but if he gets his hands on it at least a couple of times, the record could fall. So life is good for the Eskimos, while the Lions, on the other hand, had to deal with personal tragedy this week. Quarterback Danny Barrett rushed home to Florida after his brother was killed in an accident. Barrett is back now, but with limited preparation, he'll watch tonight as Danny McManus makes his first start at quarterback for the Lions. In the booth to describe the proceedings, here are Don Whitman and Dan Kepley.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. The last time Danny McManus started a football game, he was wearing a Winnipeg uniform October 31st last year, and he led the Blue Bombers to a victory over the BC Lions. Dave Ritchie is hoping that in his first start as a member of the Lions, he'll lead the team to victory tonight.
Well, I think so. In any case, if this was a young rookie quarterback that was getting thrown to the wolves of this Edmonton defense, it may be a little different. But Danny McManus is a very experienced quarterback, and I think he can handle the load tonight.
As a former linebacker with those championship Edmonton teams, it must bring some joy to your heart to see the Eskimos leading the league defensively.
Well, there is some joy in Mudville tonight here, but I think Edmonton is playing very sound defense right now. They're playing a very unselfish style and a role defense where everybody knows that they have their role, and fortunately, everybody is doing their role very, very well.
The Eskimos trying to keep pace with the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions trying to move into a second-place tie with Edmonton. Scott?
Well, Don, second place is at stake tonight. The Eskimos have appealed to a higher authority to have the rain hold off. It's in the forecast. The kickoff is next when we come back to Commonwealth Stadium. Hey!
We want to see you have a good time. Japanese Village Box.
Forestry is now the fourth largest contributor to Alberta's economy. But we're not taking our growth for granted. We're carefully planning for the future to achieve the proper balance between enterprise and the environment. A growing industry, a responsible approach. For more on how we're managing this precious resource, call us. A message from the forest industry.
I love the way...
Ma'am, what's your fondest memory from the summer of '91?
Summer 91.
Why, nothing tops that most delightful McDonald's McChicken Club. Oh, how I miss it so. Okay, so maybe everyone doesn't remember the last time they had the great taste of a McChicken Club with bacon, tomato, and lettuce. My Sydney knows a McChicken Club is the way to a woman's heart, so he bought me this memento. This month, by popular demand, the McChicken Club is back. Did you hear that, Sydney? The McChicken Club is back. Oh, happy day.
The Eskimos undefeated on their home turf, attempting to keep that record intact tonight against the BC Lions. The Lions with a 3-2 record. Ron Lancaster in his 3rd year as head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos. And across the field, Dave Ritchie, a veteran assistant coach in the CFL, in his rookie year as head coach of the BC Lions. He's noted as a defensive specialist, but the team that has been outstanding in a defensive capacity this year, the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, they certainly have risen to the occasion. There was a lot of changes offensively with the Eskimos. So defensively, Coach Lancaster knew that their defense would have to play well early in the season, come up with big turnovers, and they have certainly rose to the occasion and the challenge.
Lou Pasaglia, the CFL's all-time leading scorer, kicking off, and he'll try and kick the ball away from the gizmo all night. Eric Mitchell on the kickoff return, and he battles his way out to the 37-yard line, and that's where the Eskimos will scrimmage 1st and 10. Plummer was there to make the tackle after a 22-yard return. This is the starting lineup for the Edmonton Eskimos, led by quarterback Damon Allen. He has Casey Dunn, Jim Sandusky, Henry Williams, and Eddie Brown to throw to, and the offensive line remains the same, an offensive line that has pleased Ron Lancaster with its play thus far this season. 1st and 10, the Eskimos. The ball is at the 36-yard line. Damon Allen under pressure, and he goes down. Zoc Allen was there to make the tackle, dropping him for a loss of a couple of yards. Defensively, O.J. Brigance leads the CFL in quarterback sacks. Officially, he has 7. Coach Ritchie says he should have 8. He's behind this front 3 of Scrivener, McCready, and McNeil. He's on the outside with Allen, Jackson, and West inside. In the secondary, the Lions have had some problems this year, and they have moved a number of people in and out of those defensive halfback positions looking for the right combination. So far, they have not found it. 2nd and 11, Sandusky makes the catch. He's got a 1st down and more. He takes the ball to the 53 of the BC Lions. A big play for Jim Sandusky.
Simple little drag pass into Sandusky underneath as he fakes the outside move. You get a pick there coming from the inside. Michael Souls with the pick, and Sandusky's able to pick up a big 1st down.
22 yards the gain for Jim Sandusky. 5 times he has had 1,000-yard seasons. This year, 257 yards through the first 4 games. Blake Marshall breaks off tackle, and he has a gain of 12, stopped by the safety, Sean Footy. And this is something you might see the Eskimos do, try and use Marshall more if Footy moves up from his safety position to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they certainly want to be able to run the ball and establish the running game with Blake Marshall. And when they line up everybody as far as BC on the line of scrimmage, once the running attack breaks that initial line of defense, he's running right to the goal line.
1st and 10, the ball is at the 40-yard line. Michael Souls, the ball carrier, he was tripped up by O.J. Brigance after a pickup of about 2 yards. Brigance initially was an inside linebacker. He has moved to the outside and has been very effective coming off the edge.
A very similar thing that Coach Ritchie did with Angelo Snipes when he was in Ottawa. Moved him to the outside, gave him a little more freedom, and utilized that quickness. And Brigance has really performed extremely well being as an outside linebacker.
Pickup of 1 for Souls. It is 2nd and 9. The ball is at the 39-yard line. Damon Allen to the sidelines for Sandusky. Pretty good coverage on Sandusky. He had no chance against Andre Francis. Not only was Francis all over him, but Sandusky was running out of room on the sidelines. Damon Allen, the starting quarterback tonight, but don't be surprised to see Ricky Foggy.
Well, at any time, don't be surprised to see Foggy, to see Mickey. This is a wonderful situation that Coach Lancaster has. He has 3 very unselfish, unegotistical quarterbacks that he can put in at any time. They want to do what is in the best interest of the ball club to win.
Sean Fleming attempting a field goal of 46 yards last week against Sacramento. He was 5 for 5, including a 58-yarder, and this one is wide. Philpott brings it out of the end zone. Philpott trying to make a cut at the 10-yard line, slipped and went down. Krupe was there to make sure Philpott went down. Danny McManus gets the start tonight because of the unfortunate circumstances that forced Danny Barrett to attend his brother's funeral this past week. He has a pretty talented speed merchant in Lonnie Turner at one of the receiving positions and a veteran offensive line that he hopes will provide protection and give him the opportunity to throw the football. Handoff to Sean Millington, and Millington is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Defensively, Benny Goods, one of those in on the stop. He has had a great start to this 1993 season. He was on the bubble at training camp. They weren't pleased with the way he finished last year. Willie Pless leads the league in tackles from his linebacking position. And the secondary of the Edmonton Eskimos is one that leads the league in interceptions. Don Wilson with 3. McManus with his first pass of the game, and he's got Turner for a first down at the 26-yard line, tackled by Ed Berry.
This will certainly be a big key to the BC offense right now. Edmonton came with their blitz up the middle with Willie Pless coming. That very veteran offensive line of BC Lions was able to pick it all up and give Danny McManus plenty of time to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball right on the money to Lonnie Turner.
Turner has 4.3 speed. Penalty flag as McManus throws over the middle to Alexander. He's got a first down at the 44, but let's wait for the penalty call. Ken Lazaruk, the man in charge tonight, and it's offside, BC.
Since the addition of Lonnie Turner to this lineup, it has really opened up the whole receiving corps.
Offside, British Columbia, number 88. First down repeated, 5 yards back.
Offside on Ray Alexander, and that then it takes a lot of heat off Ray Alexander. He was the speed merchant and the only guy that most defenses had to look to. But in this case, they really do have to respect the speed of Turner, and it opens up what Ray Alexander can do, and then that, in essence, opens up what Clark and Trevathan can do on the inside.
First and 15. The ball is back at the 21-yard line. Fake inside by McManus. McManus is in trouble. He throws the football, and it falls short of the intended target, Ray Alexander. Hunter had grabbed McManus, and he was able to get the ball away. Or, no, they're going to rule a sack. No, they're going to say that he did get the ball away. It goes back to the 21-yard line.
Melvin Hunter does a good job of defeating his block, and then he just grabs right by the ankle. Very questionable. The forward motion of the arm was in progress, but they're going to call it that way and make it second and long.
Second and 15. Willie Pless came free up the middle, but McManus managed to get the pass away. Rogers deflected it, but the man coming up the middle and getting through far too quickly for Danny McManus's liking was Willie Pless. He came untouched.
Good blitz coming up front. As Willie comes in, Larry Ruck is coming off the offside to try to pick it up. As Willie Pless comes up the middle, Sean Millington has to slide over and pick up them on the blitz, and that allows the one-on-one coverage. But the Edmonton secondary has come up with 10 interceptions this year. They're leading the league.
Lou Pasaglia stands at the 7-yard line. The fans at Commonwealth Stadium anticipating a big game tonight from the Gizmo, but I don't think he'll have many opportunities to handle the football as Lou Pasaglia, under the instructions of Coach Dave Ritchie, angles it out of bounds at the 50-yard line.
Well, we'll see.
Of all the cars and trucks built in Canada, 1 in 4 is built by Chrysler. Even more significant, 90% are built for export. That provides thousands of jobs for Canadians and pours billions of dollars into our economy. At Chrysler, we're not just building cars, we're building Canada.
Now, when life turns up the heat, there's Degree Antiperspirant. Because it's body heat activated, Degree turns on extra protection when you really need it. Degree, your body heat turns it on.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Dodge Trucks, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Back in Edmonton, if one thing characterizes this current Eskimo team, I'd say it's harmony. Everyone's on the same wavelength, little patience shown for someone who's not. It's why some members of the Eskimos tell me Darrell K. Smith was cut outright this week. He was part of that major off-season trade with Toronto, but apparently wasn't thrilled about making short, tough catches in the middle. Still wanted to be the deep go-to guy he was in Toronto a few years back, and Don, not being on the same page, got D.K. Smith released.
Well, that was one of the problems, and I think one thing Ron Lancaster has attempted to stress since taking over as coach of the Eskimos, the team first, individual performances second.
Offside, BC number 95, still first down.
It has been something, a great element of the Edmonton Eskimo organization over the years when I was here, and even continuing now, is that the fact is that there is no part bigger than the whole. The big picture comes first, and you have to fit in with that team concept and with that family atmosphere and philosophy.
McNeil offside. It is first and 5. Souls is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. McNeil was in on the tackle. While Lancaster has been pleased with the outstanding play of his defensive unit, he does have some concerns about his team offensively.
Well, I think it's taken a little longer than he anticipated for this offense to get on track. But the thing that he does recognize is that the defense had to come up big early in the part of this season, and they certainly have, because the more mistakes they're going to make offensively, they need to get more opportunities, and this defense has allowed them that.
Second and 6. The ball is at the 46-yard line. Damon Allen looking over the middle. Eddie Brown couldn't catch up with the throw. He was being covered by Bruce Plummer. So it will be 3rd and 6 from the 46. Downtown Eddie Brown. He has had stops in a number of spots. A free agent in Calgary, a free agent in Ottawa, a free agent in Toronto. In his other CFL stops, he has been a wideout. He's playing inside with the Eskimos. Pretty strong performance so far this year. 5 touchdowns. Harper's 3rd down punt, an end-over-end kick that bounces in front of Turner. Turner picks it up, draws a penalty flag, stays on his feet, and then is surrounded by Eskimos. But this will almost certainly be a no-yards call against Edmonton.
Over the years, one word has become synonymous with CBC News: commitment. Commitment, a tradition of superb journalism.
Canadians have seldom been more divided.
Commitment, more reporters in more places.
Of northern Ethiopia.
A dedication to the Canadian point of view.
Bound to affect Canada, too.
The result, unrivaled depth in news. Peter Mansbridge and Pamela Wallen co-anchor. CBC Primetime News, weeknights.
On Street Legal.
I'm trying to save my film.
Has Olivia gone too far this time?
I vote that your partnership in this firm be terminated.
Then,
Leon, I want our child to be healthy.
a personal dilemma for Alana.
Are you having second thoughts again because of this case?
Thursday on Street Legal.
I see you in a cage like the birds.
Sold into marriage by her family, they took away the only thing she loved, her music. An epic tale based on a true story. A Bride's Tears, Sunday.
There were a couple of aerial displays in the CFL last night. One of them at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa, where the amazing Doug Flutie threw for 556 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this one to Dave Sapunjas. Flutie's well on pace for a 7,000-yard passing season. He also hit Derek Crawford for a major, 2 of them, in fact, in the second half last night. The Stampeders beat Ottawa. It's the first time this season a team has won back-to-back games on one of those dreaded short road trips. And at Iverwind Stadium in Hamilton, Saskatchewan's Kent Austin threw at will all night to Fairholm and Elgard. Ray Elgard finished the game with 12 catches for 212 yards. Austin threw for 462. The Riders beat the Ticats, so Calgary 6-0 now. Saskatchewan improves to 3-3, and the week began with Calgary winning in Winnipeg and Toronto winning its first at the expense of Sacramento. Don?
And Scott, I wonder if Dan Kepley, when he played with Warren Moon as he established CFL passing records, thought that those standards would ever be broken.
Never. I didn't think I would ever see anybody that had the success of Warren Moon. But all of a sudden, along comes a guy like Doug Flutie, and anything is possible as long as he's on the football field.
Philpott is stopped by Ruck as he tried to cut inside. Ruck had closed off the corner. We talked about O.J. Brigance being moved from an inside position to an outside linebacking position. Well, Larry Ruck also had to make a move. Larry Ruck went from the outside to the inside, and he has been very effective for the Eskimos playing alongside Willie Plus.
McManus will find it tough going trying to run the ball against this Edmonton defense because they are so full of speed. It's hard to run outside against them.
Second and 11 from the shotgun. McManus looking to the sidelines for Alexander. He had fallen in front of Damian Lyons, so it's 2 and out for the BC Lions.
Ray comes off the line, and he's just working one-on-one. He's got Damon Lyons there, and as he makes his cut, the grass is you know, it's been cut fairly good down there. This is probably the best grass field in North America. And again, he just didn't have his feet up underneath him when he tried to make that cut, and he slipped out.
Lou Pasaglia's first punt traveled just 29 yards. Under instructions from Coach Dave Ritchie, he said, we're going to kick the ball away from the gizmo for the rest of the year. Never mind just tonight. He said, I don't care if Pasaglia only hits at 30 yards as long as the gizmo doesn't get a chance to return it. This time, Brown is going to handle it. Brown runs to the sidelines, but then runs out of room, and there is also a penalty flag on the play. This could be a call against the Edmonton Eskimos, and we are going to see Ricky Foggy come into the ball game as the quarterback of the Edmonton Eskimos when they scrimmage. But I think it will be a clipping call against Edmonton that will take the ball back into Edmonton territory.
Quick change on Ron Lancaster's part in quarterbacks, surprisingly so, that you feel that maybe even Damon Allen didn't have enough chance to get out there and really get his feet settled underneath him.
BC, or Edmonton, number 10, face mask, BC, 5-yard penalty from point ball held.
Well, I'm not going to try and second guess those officials anymore. I thought it was a clipping call. There's a penalty against both sides.
Brown with an 8-yard return and forced a penalty on the play. And Barry really getting to Pasaglia.
The holding call against Lyons, and then the face mask violation that followed. So it's 1st and 10. The ball is at the 50, and Ricky Foggy comes in at quarterback. Two tight end formation, the handoff to Souls, and Souls is close to a first down. Ricky Foggy is familiar with this two tight end package that his former head coach with the Toronto Argonauts, Adam Rita, has brought with him to Edmonton as the assistant coach and offensive coordinator. It's called a bimbo package. Ricky Foggy, basically in a relief role this year, has passed for 3 touchdowns, completing 17 of the 32 passes he has attempted. They stay with that two tight end package. Souls this time is hit before he gets to the line of scrimmage and dropped for a loss of a couple of yards by O.J. Brigance, and that was a good hit the linebacker put on the running back.
Great penetration by Brigance that time. Now in this bimbo package that Edmonton's coming up with, they'll take Steve Krupe as one of the tight ends. He's wearing number 95, move him up as a tight end, take Blake Marshall, move him up as a tight end, and leave the Soul back in the middle, and I mean Soul back as in Michael Souls, as the running back. O.J. Brigance did a great job of stuffing that to absolutely no gain.
2nd and 14. Foggy looks to the sidelines. He's got Eddie Brown. He runs it out of bounds in front of Tom Europe. And it will be a gain about 2 yards shy of a first down, a pickup of 12.
Right now, as it stands, Edmonton is very aware that some of the most vulnerable positions in this BC defense would be their halfbacks, and look for Damon Allen or Ricky Foggy or the quarterback of the Edmonton Eskimos to be trying to attack that as often as they possibly can.
On 3rd and 2, Ron Lancaster sends out the field goal unit. Sean Fleming missed on his first try from 46 yards. This will be a 39-yard attempt. And again, it's wide, but it goes through the end zone. Les Brown, who was back, had no opportunity for a return. It's 1-0 Edmonton.
Quote, a mid-sized Dodge Dakota with optional 230 horsepower Magnum V8 outpowers, outhauls, and just plain outpulls even full-size 5-liter V8s from Ford and Chevy. Unquote. Dodge trucks with Magnum engines, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Can't top the copper top.
So, is it true?
Perhaps.
Why?
Very rich.
I see.
And naughty. But sweet. How could I resist? Whipped, chocolatey filling. Embraced by delicate wafers. Then, drenched in milk chocolate.
Chocolaires, sinfully delicious.
Am I forgiven?
Not yet.
Now, when life turns up the heat, there's Degree antiperspirant. Because it's body heat activated, Degree turns on extra protection when you really need it. Degree, your body heat turns it on.
You're looking at the skyline of downtown Edmonton, and not far from the heart of the city is Commonwealth Stadium. Opened in 1978 for the Commonwealth Games, which will be held next year in Victoria, British Columbia. And since 1978, the Edmonton Eskimos have been the occupants of this fine facility. Now that Sacramento has been added to the league, there are 2 grass fields in the Canadian Football League. Danny McManus operating from the shotgun, 1st and 10 from the 35. McManus being chased by Willie Pless. Sideline pattern, a penalty flag is down. And this will be a 1st down depending upon the penalty call.
McManus is showing good foot speed to get outside, away from the initial rush coming up the middle. Edmonton is very much aware that they have to be able to...
1st down, BC.
Very much aware that they have to contain Danny McManus inside, keep him in the pocket, not allow him to scramble outside and get that pass off.
21-yard gain on the play. 1st and 10 BC, ball at the Eskimo 54.
Penalty against the Edmonton Eskimos. It's 1st and 10 from the 54 of Edmonton. Matt Clark in the receiving end of the throw. McManus fakes inside, throws over the middle again to Clark. Another 1st down at the 40-yard line. He made the catch in front of Don Wilson.
Don Wilson with the tackle.
Edmonton will come in now with 6 defensive backs, and they would like to play this through the course of the game, from what I understand. And they read the routes inside and out. At this case, Willie Pless allows Clark to be able to slide in behind him and pick up the big 1st down with just a curl right over the middle.
Philpott fights his way to the 35-yard line, a pickup of close to 5 yards. It will be 2nd and 5, 2:46 remaining in the opening quarter. Benny Goods in on the stop. The Eskimos this year have allowed just 45 points, 23 of those in their lone loss to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They have an identical record to what they had after 4 games a year ago, but tremendous improvement in their points against total. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. The pass complete to Clark. First down at the 25-yard line. An all-out blitz by the Eskimos, and the BC Lions picked it up. And McManus found an open Matt Clark at the 25.
Most of the time in this situation, you're going to match up offensive linemen, big men against big men. The blitzing linebackers will be picked up by the running back. In that case, Sean Millington did an excellent job of stepping up to pick up Willie Pless. That gave McManus enough time to be able to dump the ball. And this is the key for BC's success, getting rid of the ball hot.
5 receivers into the game now. Flutie replaces Corey Philpott. Handoff inside to Millington. Millington breaks the first tackle and then is stopped at the 21-yard line and driven back by Larry Ruck and Willie Pless.
Incredible lateral movement by this whole defense, but especially by the most valuable player defensively in the league last year, Willie Pless. He's got big mills on him, and he's able to slide outside, takes away the outside position, keeps his outside arm and leg free, and he's able to make that tackle.
He leads the league in tackles. 5 receivers set again for the BC Lions. McManus throwing over the middle. Flutie's got it, and Flutie has a first down at the 7. Flutie not in the starting lineup of the BC Lions for tonight's game against the Eskimos, but he has been spotted, and that was a most opportune switch for the BC Lions as he came in and made the key reception for the first down.
Hunter came off the corner all by himself, and he was in the backfield. McManus read it and then was able to dump it off quickly to Flutie for the big gain.
First and goal. The ball is at the 7-yard line. Millington fighting his way to the end zone. Penalty flag on the play. Sean Millington got to the end zone, and let's wait for the call.
Holding, BC number 55, first down repeated.
Ian Sinclair, the center, guilty of holding. That will negate the touchdown run by Sean Millington. And let's see if we can pick it up.
Right in the middle of your screen, that's Ian Sinclair against Tony Woods, the nose tackle. He's able to get his hands and wraps around him. The one good thing about some of these old veteran offensive linemen is they've learned to hold pretty good over the years of experience without getting caught.
First and goal from the 18. Philpott was the man McManus was looking for. He was being covered by Rogers. Larry Ruck got a hand on the throw by McManus, and it will now be Flutie into the game and Philpott out on second and goal from the 18. So it's a 5 receiver set again for the BC Lions. And the Edmonton Eskimos have 6 defensive backs in the ball game. McManus looks at the goal line, and it's knocked away. It was intended for Turner, and it was knocked away by Dan Murphy. And that is the final play of the opening quarter.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Quote, a Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum Cummins diesel has the power to out-torque, out-pull, just flat outwork Chevy and Ford diesels, unquote. Dodge trucks with Magnum engines, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
You're not going to find a job just like that. Most jobs need at least high school.
Yeah, dropping out will get me nowhere. I thought you wanted to be something. I do, but I can't take it anymore.
Whether you stay in school or drop out is your decision.
For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Dodge Trucks, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
To start the second quarter, it will be 3rd and goal from the 18 for the BC Lions, and Lou Pasaglia, the CFL's all-time leading scorer, looking to go over 2,700 points with this field goal attempt, and he now has 2,701 career points. What an amazing career Lou Pasaglia has had. Dave Ridgway ranks second to Pasaglia in all-time field goals, but he's a distant second to Lou Pasaglia. Your former teammate Dave Cutler was an idol of one time of Lou Pasaglia's, and Pasaglia has now surpassed him in field goals and in total points.
Well, Cutler was an idol of a lot of those. I think Jackie Parker idolized Dave Cutler back in the old days. But these guys, it's just a great compliment to a guy like Louis Pasaglia, able to do it as well as he's been doing it for 17 years.
And you know, back in 1976, now the head coach and general manager of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Cal Murphy, then the coach of the BC Lions, had a kicking contest to try and find a man to handle both the punting and place-kicking chores for the BC Lions, and Lou Pasaglia won the job over Eddie Murphy, I should say, who went on to a career with the Detroit Lions. The gizmo on the kickoff steps out of bounds at the 32-yard line. 3-1. The BC Lions lead the Edmonton Eskimos in a low-scoring game, not much as you would expect statistically. 82 yards for the Lions, just 53 yards for the Eskimos. Quite a contrast to the numbers that Tom Burgess and Doug Flutie posted last night in the nation's capital.
Just incredible numbers going up and down the field last night, and a lot of scoring in that game. Sean Millington here was a first-round draft pick by the Edmonton Eskimos back in 1990, went to the New York Giants, and then has just been a real threat as a special team player for the BC Lions.
The gizmo makes the catch up at the 48-yard line. His first catch of the football game. Damon Allen back in at quarterback. Ricky Foggy had one series. You think we're going to see more of that as the game progresses, or was Ron Lancaster simply looking to settle Allen down?
I think it was a point where he brought Damon Allen off to the side, and great, this is just my opinion, brought him off to the side and let him take a look at what the BC defense was trying to do to him without him having to look over his shoulder and try to pick it out while he was running for his life.
Eddie Brown is the man Allen is looking for, and this will be a penalty call against Bruce Plummer. Dave Ritchie has not been happy with the play of his defensive backs this year. He has had a number of different backs, particularly in those inside positions. Bruce Plummer is the latest addition. He was added to the roster.
Pass interference, BC 29, deliberate, automatic first down and point of foul. First down.
Plummer added to the roster a couple of weeks ago after playing 5 games last year with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's a costly penalty for the Lions. It takes the ball down to the 33-yard line.
Eskimos first and 10, ball at the BC 33.
But Ritchie takes pride in the way his secondary plays, and this year the Lions have just 3 interceptions. Movement at the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped, and a little pushing and shoving after the whistle. It's an offside call against BC.
Offside, BC number 95, still first down.
Well, who has Dave Ritchie turned to as he tries to rebuild the Lions defense, in particular his secondary? All the players he knew best when he was defensive coordinator with Winnipeg and then Ottawa. It's the Winnipeg-Ottawa alumni he has back there now. Les Brown played with both teams. So did Ken Haley. Sean Footie was signed as a free agent from Ottawa. Bruce Plummer is from Winnipeg, and Andre Francis is from Ottawa. It's the nature of the CFL. The players move, but that sort of reunion is uncommon, Don.
Casey Dunn in the end zone grabs the Damon Allen throw for a touchdown. He got in behind Bruce Plummer. Ritchie still will have some concerns about the play of his secondary. Jeff Jackson was pressuring Damon Allen, but he managed to get to the outside and found Dunn all alone in the end zone.
A bootleg, a naked bootleg where Damon Allen comes out all by himself. The responsibility of Jeff Jackson is to contain, stay outside shoulder, and keep Damon Allen inside of you. He didn't allow that to happen, and as Damon Allen coming out free all by himself, he was able to find Casey Dunn all by himself in the end zone.
So with the point after, Edmonton leads by 5. We'll be back with the Edmonton kickoff.
Joshua Williams, baseball player, swimmer, and safety ambassador for the War Amps Champ program. Joshua knows what it means to play safe. During a boat ride, he got too close to the edge and fell overboard. The motor severed his leg. Now, he must wear an artificial one. Joshua has a warning for all children.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe. Yes.
A message from the War Amps.
It keeps going and going. Energizer. Absolutely nothing lasts longer.
It's just like losing one of your family.
One by one, they've disappeared.
To see it disintegrating is really, really sad.
A crisis at the world-famous London Zoo on Witness Tuesday. Sunday, this is where glory shines, where sacrifice and tears turn to gold. Canada's athletic youth gather in Kamloops for the Canada Games. The opening ceremonies, Sunday.
Casey Dunn made his '93 debut with the Eskimos last week against Sacramento, but this is his first catch of the season.
As they fake it, Damon fakes inside to Blake Marshall, wheels out on his own. Here comes Jeff Jackson inside, allows Damon Allen to get outside. Once he gets outside, he's way by himself, full speed, and then all Casey Dunn has to do is run to the corner of the end zone. Damon Allen lays it out there, easy 6 points.
Lonnie Turner can't stay in bounds. He steps out at the 2-yard line. A penalty flag on the play, a 72-yard kickoff by Sean Fleming. Had Turner let that ball go, it almost certainly would have bounced out of bounds.
It would have been out of bounds, and they have an unnecessary roughness.
See number 16, first down.
Spencer McLennan is tagged with the unnecessary roughness penalty. It's not all that damaging because it's only half the distance to the goal line. Turner stepped out at the 2, so the ball is scrimmaged just outside the 1.
This is where the Edmonton defense has been very, very tough during the course of this year, being able to turn the ball over deep in their opponent's zone.
1st and 10 from the 1-yard line. McManus swings it out, and Trevathan steps out of bounds at the 6. That will be a gain of 5. He made the catch in front of Glenn Rogers.
McManus showing great composure back there underneath the heat that the Edmonton defense is bringing, was able to step back, a quick 2-step drop and a quick out to Trevathan.
McManus doesn't show a lot of emotion, and Coach Ritchie was saying that with McManus in at quarterback, although he is not as fleet of foot as Danny Barrett, the Lions will endeavor to move the pocket around. Alexander on the receiving end of the throw for a first down at the 21-yard line. Ray Alexander in the past has done some damage against the Edmonton Eskimos. In the preseason, he had a number of catches against Edmonton. Last week, 6 receptions for 103 yards, and he has been a favorite target of Danny McManus tonight against Edmonton.
Collectively right now, this is one of the better receiving corps that the BC Lions has put together, and therefore as long as McManus or Barrett can spread the ball across the field, it makes it very tough for either defense to concentrate or double on one guy.
Philpott with some speed gets a hold, and Philpott takes it out to the 44-yard line, stopped there by Rogers. Well, the Eskimos had the Lions deep in a hole back at their own 1-yard line, but with a big pass to Alexander and a 23-yard run by Philpott. They're now up at the 44.
This is what happens when you go against an aggressive defense who blitz a lot. Once you break that initial line of defense, you're running right to the safety. And when you've got a guy like Philpott with his speed carrying the ball, he can make a lot of things happen.
Philpott comes out. Darren Flutie comes in. A 5-receiver set again for the BC Lions. Handoff inside to Sean Millington. Willie Pless and Leroy Blue were there to make the tackle. A pickup of close to 5 yards.
Millington getting his first start in quite a while, taking the place of Chris Skinner, who had come out of retirement to be the fullback for the BC Lions. Good effort inside. He's a very strong, big, powerful man. He'll go about 6'2", 222 when he reported to camp this year.
The Eskimos rotate their 4-down linemen and their linebackers throughout the course of a game. You see a lot of changes. There's movement up front. If this is a penalty call against Edmonton, it will be a first down. And it should be a first down regardless because Alexander makes the catch. Woods appeared to be offside.
Offside, Edmonton number 91, declined.
Obviously, the 5-yard penalty is waived by the BC Lions because Alexander takes the ball down to the 47.
Some of the things you have to do as an attacking defense is that you have to be patient and you have to be disciplined and go on the snap of the ball, not trying to anticipate the counts. And when you do, you get caught in that situation.
Former Saskatoon Hilltop Larry Ruck, 10-year veteran of the Eskimos, took quite a beating as he attempted to penetrate from his linebacking position. Penalty flag, and I think this is going to be a holding call against the BC Lions as McManus was attempting to get to the outside. Flutie was the man that McManus was throwing to, but all for naught in view of the infraction.
Holding, BC number 55, first down repeated.
Dave Ritchie shakes his head. Ian Sinclair with his second holding penalty. One wiped out an apparent BC touchdown.
Got it. Look right in the middle of your screen here. Here's the Willie Pless coming on a blitz. This is Ian Sinclair. Pless is going to come this way. He's going to grab his jersey as Pless is going to try to get outside. Ian Sinclair is going to grab the jersey, protect his quarterback, and not let Willie Pless have a clean shot at him. He gets called for the penalty.
Pless, the all-time leader in defensive tackles, 548 coming into this game. The screen pass to Sean Millington. Millington is forced out of bounds by Larry Ruck at the 49-yard line. Sean Millington has done an outstanding job for the Lions this year on special teams. His nickname is the Predator.
Coach Ritchie just said he has been an absolute terror on the special teams. And again, this is his chance to show exactly what he can do and his worth as a fullback.
Second and 12. The ball is at the 49. Millington on the screen. Got 8 of the yards back. Here comes pressure from the outside. McManus read it. He throws to the other side to Alexander. And he will be very close to a first down. As a matter of fact, from here it looks as though he's got it.
Don Wilson, the strong side halfback, was coming on a blitz that time. It's right at the top of your screen here. And then he's going to come. McManus reads it. He's able to scramble out to his left and out to his right. And as he scrambles out, he's able to hit Alexander on the out pattern. Willie Pless is going to come late to get up as a late contain up into his face. But McManus has already released the ball. Big first down.
Remember, this drive started from the 1-yard line. McManus over the middle, fine catch by Flutie for a first down at the 25-yard line in front of Don Wilson. Wilson was the man coming on the halfback blitz on the previous play. This time it was Flutie making the catch in front of Wilson.
McManus showing great composure in the pocket. He's going to take exactly what the Edmonton defense will allow him to have. He's not forcing anything out there.
Philpott back into the game. Flutie goes out. These are the two players the BC Lions are juggling offensively. An 8-play drive has consumed 83 yards thus far. Philpott with a hole, and then it's quickly closed off by Larry Ruck. But it will still be a gain of about 5 yards. Philpott has that quick acceleration. He gets into that hole very quickly.
unbelievable takeoff speed, and this is kind of the thing that Dave Ritchie knew that he had to get involved in his offense. Philpott with his speed, and also a guy like Lonnie Turner, who's a deep threat with his speed on the outside.
Joe Paupow using the shuttle service. Philpott and Flutie to convey messages to quarterback Danny McManus. 2nd and 4. Flutie on the receiving end of the throw, first down at the 11. I wonder if Flutie's always carrying the correct message. Does he come in and say, "Coach says throw it to me"?
Well, the only thing I can say is if he doesn't bring in the correct message, he better not go off the sideline. If he does, go off on the Edmonton side, because Coach Ritchie will have something to say about that.
Flutie heads off to the bench. Corey Philpott comes back in.
Good job up front by this offensive line, and also Sean Millington picking up Willie Pless, and that's what allowing McManus to have the time to dump the ball off.
He dumps it off to Philpott. Touchdown. What a drive for the BC Lions as they move 109 yards for the major score. McManus throwing to Philpott. It looked as though they were in big trouble when Lonnie Turner stepped out of bounds on the kickoff at the 2-yard line, and then a penalty took it back to the 1. But Danny McManus directed a very impressive drive, 109 yards.
Just a tremendous confidence builder to be able to go in there and do that. And it was nickel and dime kind of stuff. It wasn't any big plays. It wasn't the home run ball. It was a very, very methodical kind of drive, which in essence will help the confidence of the BC Lions.
So Lou Pasaglia attempting the point after, and the BC Lions now have a 2-point lead, and we'll be back with the BC kickoff after this.
Ma'am, what's your fondest memory from the summer of '91?
Summer 91.
Why, nothing tops that most delightful McDonald's McChicken Club. Oh, how I miss it so. Okay, so maybe everyone doesn't remember the last time they had the great taste of a McChicken Club with bacon, tomato, and lettuce. My Sydney knows a McChicken Club is the way to a woman's heart, so he bought me this memento. This month, by popular demand, the McChicken Club is back. Did you hear that, Sydney? The McChicken Club is back. Oh, happy day.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's water seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Socks whiter than white, and dishes cleaner than clean. Sunlight, clean as need be.
Oh, no, not I. I was the boy. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be right.
Duracell. You can't top the copper top.
Mom, Dad, how you doing? Love you. Going all the way, baby.
Corey Philpott capping the 109-yard drive with a touchdown grab from Danny McManus to put the Lions in front. BC 10, Edmonton 8, 6:37 remaining in the first half. At this time, we say hello to all the viewers in the United States who are watching on Sports Channel America. I'm Don Whitman along with Dan Kepley and Scott Oak as we bring you the action from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Mitchell on the kickoff return is stopped at the 40-yard line. That's where the Eskimos will scrimmage 1st and 10. And Damon Allen will continue at quarterback.
Here's a good look at Philpott right here. All he's going to do is slide right out into the flat. The man that has coverage on him is Don Wilson. There is no way that Wilson is going to be able to cover him. He's behind the play as it first starts, and with the speed of Philpott, he's able to get out into the flat very quickly. McManus makes the right read, delivers it right on the money, and it's an easy 6 points.
1st and 10 Edmonton. The ball is at the 40-yard line. Damon Allen for Sandusky for a pickup of 6. The ball comes loose. The Lions claim they've got it. Will the officials agree? No.
Second down.
Second down, Edmonton. Somehow the officials never listen to the players.
I don't think the officials listen to anybody. Let's tell you that. And I think for their own case, they can't get influenced and they can't get involved with the arguments with coaches and players on there, or it would be an argument on every play.
A gain of 6. It will be 2nd and 4. The ball is at the 46-yard line. Dunn and Sandusky line up. Wide right. Allen rolls to his left. He was being chased by James West. Got away, but can't escape O.J. Brigance. James West got through very quickly to pressure Damon Allen, and while the veteran 36-year-old linebacker didn't get him, O.J. Brigance was able to run him down.
Again, one of the things that Dave Ritchie prides himself on is defense and speed in this defense. You've got a guy like O.J. Brigance who's got great wheels. He's able to motor and get for great lateral movement. And when you're able to chase down a guy like Damon Allen, you're doing your job.
Harper stands at his own 30-yard line. Lonnie Turner, the lone man back. Turner has some speed if he can find an opening, but that opening never develops, as J.P. Escuerdo was the first man downfield to make the tackle.
Back for a sizzling summer, Ear to the Ground, starring Marin Cadell, Thomas Trio and the Red Albino, Cassandra Bassick, Spirit of the West, Dream Warriors, The Rankin Family, Bare Naked Ladies, and many more. Ear to the Ground, Tuesday night at 11:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Television.
There's a whole new season of comedy, drama, and performance coming at you this fall. Watch CBC, Public Broadcasting in Canada, and go public.
This week on The Country Beat, interviews with Chris Christopherson, Shania Twain, Vern Chichu, and we'll have a special behind-the-scenes look at Farm Aid. We'll also have videos from Dean Dillon, Laurie Morgan, and a whole lot more.
Tonight on CBC.
He's a tough cop who's got everything under control. Everything but his mom. Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot on the CBC Wednesday Night Movie.
Back in Edmonton, where there have been some great Eskimo teams, none greater than the ones from 78 to 82. They won it all every year. You wonder how the players have coped with filling the void, finding similar success later in life. We'll talk about that on Live at the Half, and we'll go live to Toronto to separate fact from fiction over a possible sale of the Hamilton Ticats. The team's chairman, Roger Yacchetti, will join us live. Don?
And the Hamilton Ticats off to a great 3-0 start this season, losing last night to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Intended for Trevathan, incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10 BC. You know, when we talk about those great Eskimo teams, Dan, the Eskimos, the last team to put together back-to-back Grey Cup triumphs. But the way the Calgary Stampeders are performing this year, they may successfully defend their 1992 Grey Cup win.
Well, it's so much different because it's a lot easier getting there than staying there. And then once every time the Calgary Stampeders step on the field, the teams rise to a different level when you're playing the champions.
Champions seem to be rising to a different level as well. Lonnie Turner makes the catch at the 45-yard line. Lonnie Turner with the hair hanging out from underneath his helmet. I think that might have been one of the reasons that Al Davis wasn't too happy with him down.
Well, you never know. I think all that matters is whether the guy can catch the ball or not. And he goes back a long ways. When I was out when we did a game out in BC against Calgary the other week, I ran into Gene Gaines and talked to him. He was with the LA Express, which Coach Campbell, Hugh Campbell, coached in 1983.
Millington inside. Millington with a head of steam down to the 44 of the Edmonton Eskimos. Well, this may be the best defensive team in the CFL, but the BC Lions are racking up some very good yardage. A 20-yard run by Sean Millington.
Excellent blocking inside. again, there's where Sean Millington did a good move as far as getting around Dan Murphy, the safety. Murphy's got to come up and make a good stick there. They do a good job of blocking Willie Pless, and then Sean Millington does exactly what he does very well, and that's run the ball.
Fake inside this time to Millington. The pass complete to Clark for a first down at the 31-yard line.
Great compliment to McManus and that offensive crew right now, because they are really mixing up their plays, running the ball well, passing the ball downfield.
Excuse me, allergy sufferers, it's me, a ragweed. I know I make you sick, but it's not easy being ragweed. All my life I have been uprooted, weeded out. So do me a favor, take Claritin. It'll relieve your itchy eyes, runny nose, and sneezing real fast. Or if I give you extra allergic congestion, Claritin Extra. But don't take my word for it. Claritin's also the non-drowsy brand doctors recommend most. You could learn to love me.
Introducing Ambi, the world's only left-handed vinyl floor cleaner. Color Clean, the color-coded kitchen cleaner in 87 designer shades. For greasy stovetops, Cleanatola stain-specific spray, now available in bacon fat.
Why complicate household cleaning? New Vim Microliquid is specially concentrated to replace ordinary all-purpose cleaners and spray cleaners. Concentrated Vim Microliquid, the only all-purpose cleaner.
Introducing beef-flavored Squirt and Scrub, the pet-friendly toilet bowl cleaner.
Coach Ritchie has the utmost confidence in his offensive coordinator, Joe Paopao, and he leaves the game plan up to him. Quite obviously, Dan, the throwing Simone has a pretty good scheme for the Eskimo defense tonight.
Well, he certainly does. He's one of the more knowledgeable offensive people in this business right now. Very much wanted as a head coach in a lot of other places, but he's very contented to stay with BC right now.
BC first and 10. The ball is at the 30-yard line. 3 minutes with the clock running remaining in the first half. BC in front by a couple of points. McManus looking for more. In and out of the arms of Darren Flutie.
McManus looking for Darren Flutie. Undershoots the intended receiver. Willie Press covering.
McManus engineering an 11-play drive that covered 109 yards for a touchdown. And that's one of the reasons the BC Lions have the big edge in time of possession.
Well, they certainly are, and that is one reason why BC is having such success. As far as if you can keep the Edmonton offense off the field, then therefore you've done your job and you have more opportunity to score.
The injured Edmonton player is Ed Berry. Danny Barrett might see some action in this game, but the way McManus is performing, Ritchie may choose to stay with the man who's been back on most of the year. Scott?
Well, Don, thank you very much. I was just talking to a couple of the BC Lions, and they feel their game plan is working to a T. Point 1 in it was to keep the ball away from the gizmo, which they've done. Point 2 was the one that Dan just made, and that was keeping the ball away from the Eskimo offense. I should say keeping the Eskimo offense off the field. Time of possession certainly in favor of the BC Lions. No offense this season has chewed up the Eskimo defense the way Danny McManus has led the Lions in the first half of this game, so things are working very well. The Lions say what they're worried about is the big play capability of the Eskimos, even though Ron Lancaster says he's got some doubts about his offense. Lions say they certainly have big play capability, and so far they haven't had a chance to show much of that tonight. Gizmo Williams says he'll get a chance to return a few punts if the Eskimos can work the Lions offense into the center of the field. Then he feels it'll be very difficult for Lou Pasaglia to kick it out of bounds. He thinks he can run to the ball and get a big return.
Well, he may have difficulties getting his hands on the football tonight if the plans of Coach Ritchie come to fruition, because he is going to instruct Lou Pasaglia on every occasion to kick it away from the gizmo. 2nd and 10. McManus getting pretty good protection, and he throws complete to Alexander for another first down at the 17-yard line. He made the catch in front of Rogers.
Good time in timing that by McManus as far as he sprints out to his left and to the side of that, and then Ray Alexander just works over the middle of the Edmonton defense. That Edmonton defense, as far as the zone coverage, is looking pretty soft, and McManus is taking full advantage of that.
Alexander was able to beat Doug Parrish, who came in as the injury replacement for Ed Berry, playing the corner for the Eskimos. First and 10. McManus dumps it off quickly to Philpott. Will he win the race to the end zone? Yes, his second touchdown of the football game. He can turn the jets on when he gets his hands on the ball. And in the foot race to the end zone, there was no question that Philpott was going to win it for his second major of the game.
This is the exact same play that they scored on earlier. This time they just ran it to the left-hand side as opposed to the right-hand side, allowing Philpott to come out of the backfield for an easy score.
Well, Ron Lancaster has to be concerned the way the BC Lions so far are controlling the football and picking apart the #1 defensive squad in the CFL. Lou Pasaglia, who has not missed a convert since way back in 1983. Adds to the total, and it's now 17-8.
Excellent job this time. Here's Willie Pless right here. He has got coverage on Philpott, who is standing out here one-on-one, and there's just, even though that Willie Pless has an incredible amount of speed, Philpott comes out the middle again, breaks it to the outside. Willie just does not have an opportunity or an angle to be able to make that tackle before Philpott scores.
Well, I think that's the kind of matchup you always look for, someone with the speed of a Corey Philpott isolated against a linebacker.
Well, in most cases...
Although you'll defend the linebacker.
I would have to try to defend him, but that is the natural kind of matchup you'd like to see. But a guy like Willie Pless has that natural speed. He can run step for step with guys like that.
Even on the kickoffs, they're trying to keep the ball away from the Gizmo. That's the second short kickoff by the BC Lions. Penalty flags on the play.
Well, the Giz is hoping to get a ball kicked in, but after 17 years of experience out there, Louis Pasaglia has just great touch as far as putting the ball exactly where he wants to put it, so he can place it. It's kind of like Freddie Couples hitting a sand wedge in from about 90 yards. He can put it exactly where he wants to go.
Legal kickoff. BC #5 declined.
Penalty declined by the Edmonton Eskimos. It will be first and 10. The ball at the 43 with 2:11 remaining in the first half. Ricky Foggy back in at quarterback for the Eskimos. The lone touchdown for Edmonton. A toss from Damon Allen to Casey Dunn. Foggy stands in there, looks to the sideline. Brown can't haul it in.
Ricky Foggy and a quarterback again, Eddie Brown couldn't haul it in.
When he completes a pass or when he misses the target, it doesn't seem to matter. There's always a smile on the face of Ricky Foggy.
It kind of gets you wondering, like, from a ex-player's point of view about the intensity of a Ricky Foggy. And then again, he's probably one of the most intense people inside. He knows what his responsibility, he knows what his roles are, but he just doesn't show it outwardly.
2:05 remaining in the half. 17-8. The BC Lions lead the Edmonton Eskimos. Williams lines up wide left. Foggy for the Gizmo. He beats one man, gets away from Les Brown, and then is brought down by Sean Footy, the safety. And Footy wasn't going to take any chances. He didn't try and tackle him. He just threw himself at the feet of the Gizmo after a gain of 36.
Excellent job that time as far as Giz being able to work to the outside pattern.
Eskimos first and 10, ball at the BC 31.
Then as he works out, this is where he's the most dangerous. You've got to be under control, make a tackle on Giz, not allow him to catch the ball and then be able to move it up the field the way he did.
First and 10 from the 31. Foggy looks to the Gizmo again. And the Gizmo is hauled down by Footy at the 15-yard line, and there's also a penalty flag. Glenn Scrivener might be called for roughing quarterback Ricky Foggy. A roughing the passer call against the BC Lions as the Gizmo
Roughing the
successive
passer,
plays takes it to the 15.
BC number 72. First down, Edmonton.
The ball's already thrown, and Scrivener knows that he should not be able to have to put him down on the ground. After that, just go ahead and get in close to him, make contact with him, and let him know that you're close, but don't throw him to the ground.
J.P. Esquerdo comes into the ball game for Henry the Gizmo Williams. Dave Ritchie's plan was not to let the Gizmo handle the ball as a punt returner, but on successive plays, he has handled it as a pass receiver and put the Eskimos in scoring position. Michael Souls is stacked up by Zach Allen. As a matter of fact, he's dropped for a loss in the play. Allen has made a couple of big defensive plays for the BC Lions in tonight's first half.
Zach doing an incredible job that time. He fell off from his outside linebacker position, came to the inside, and as he blitzed right on the timing of the ball, blitzed right in the middle and able to meet Michael Souls face to face, knocked him for a loss.
Isn't Zoc a great name for linebacker?
It kind of looked like one of those Batman shows it used to be. Zoc Pow, wham!
Second and goal. Sandusky, penalty flag on Andre Francis. 1:04 remaining in the half.
Excellent one-on-one coverage by Francis that time. He's got Sandusky step for step on the out going up. He just wanted to, but then he grabs him with the right hand as Sandusky tries to make his effort to come back toward the ball. Had he not grabbed him around the waist, it would have been no flag. In this case, he gets called for the penalty.
I would almost ask who was grabbing who.
The music was playing. They were dancing together. There's been a lot of calls like that this year with the, when you leave it up to the discretion as far as a judgment call on pass interference.
First and goal from the 1. Foggy will keep. No signal. It will be second and goal from the 1. Ron Lancaster was saying that Ricky Foggy may be one of the worst quarterback sneakers in the league.
Well, it looked pretty lackadaisical to me on that snap. The ball snapped and he's not really aggressively getting behind, tucking his chin right in the bum of Rod Knopp and following him in the end zone. He's kind of standing there, takes the snap, holds his chin up a little bit, let the linebacker and the defensive lineman take a shot at him.
Well, at 6'2", maybe he's too tall. He has to get down low if he wants to try and get in there. It's second and goal. This time, Foggy gives it to Marshall, and Marshall isn't going to get there. And there's a penalty flag in the play as Plummer came up to stop Blake Marshall with 41 seconds remaining in the half. The Eskimos running that bimbo package, the 2 tight ends. Oh, rough play call against the BC Lions. This is really costly because now it's first and goal again.
Unnecessary roughness. BC number 00. First down, Edmonton.
Now the unnecessary roughness call against Les Brown, and he was not involved in the stop. This time they do get in. And now Marshall and Zach Allen do some pushing and shoving, and Ritchie comes out onto the field.
A lot of frustration out there with that BC defense right now, and obviously there's some frustration and concern on the Edmonton part of being able not to be able to move the ball against this defense.
Foggy, the quarterback, kept.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 22. After the touchdown, BC's elected to take the unnecessary off the kickoff. Touchdown cut.
Well, you heard the explanation from Ken Lazaruk. It occurred after the touchdown had been scored. It was Marshall on Zach Allen that started it all.
Well, the concern of Dave Ritchie at this point is that his defense had been playing so well that the reason that you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot here. Be disciplined out there. Don't take cheap penalties, and that's what allowed the Edmonton Eskimos to get in the end zone.
So with 39 seconds remaining, once again, we have a 2-point football game, and the unnecessary roughness penalty will be added to the kickoff. So the BC Lions could get the ball back in pretty good field position. This time, Ricky Foggy is able to get to the end zone Not by much, but just enough. He broke the plane before Doug Hocking was able to drive him back. And Blake Marshall, for some reason, really lost his cool as he came over and took a shot at Zoc Allen.
Talking about losing cool, there's a coach right now that may have lost his cool, and with good reason. He has a reason for an argument out there.
That's an interesting collar that Blake Marshall wears, specially designed for Blake Marshall. It keeps his head from snapping back.
And if you use a bit of your imagination, it's called the Elvis collar, and that's the way, obviously, taken from Elvis Presley. It comes up, and Blake had a serious problem with a pinched nerve in his neck last year that limited his playing time.
Edmonton kicking off from the 20-yard line. Turner moves under the ball at the 30. Turner trying to stay on his feet, and he gets up to the 46-yard line. Brought down there by Martin. That was a 17-yard return. It will be 1st and 10 BC with 34 seconds remaining in the half.
Landing with a 70-yard kickoff.
Ricky Foggy always smiling. Danny McManus rarely showing a great deal of emotion, even when the BC Lions are having success. He would like to at least drive them into a field goal position. Vic Stevenson jumped out of his tackle position prior to the ball as being snapped, resulting in the procedure call against the BC Lions.
Legal procedure, BC number 62, still first down.
Vic Stevenson just obviously anticipating the count on that, thinking that McManus is going to go on a quick count. And sometimes that may have some effect when you do have a new quarterback in there. Even though McManus has an opportunity to work all week long with this offensive system out there, again, there's just the familiarity that you're lacking as opposed to a quarterback that you've been working with for 5 or 6 weeks.
They have to reset the time clock back to 34 seconds. It will be 1st and 15 from the 41. Danny McManus wearing number 14. Earlier in the year, he was wearing number 12, but when Ron Francis was dropped from the roster, McManus reacquired the number he had worn for his 3 seasons with Winnipeg. Millington takes the center screen and gets to the 51-yard line. Willie Pless was there to make the tackle.
Down by Willie Pless.
Got a flag down on the play with. Could be holding against.
Unnecessary roughness, face mask, Edmonton number 14, 15-yard penalty from point ball dead. First down BC.
Doug Parrish is called for the face mask violation.
Lions 1st and 10, ball in the Eskimo 44.
28 seconds remaining in the half. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 44. Clark and Turner go wide to the left. McManus looking that direction, finds Clark. 1st down at the 33-yard line. 22 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time for the BC Lions to put it in the end zone. We just saw Ron Lancaster looking on. There was nobody better in the CFL during the final minute of play and picking up yards. Clark makes a catch down at the 15-yard line. Boy, McManus is right on target. Now McManus looking to the bench. He wants to call a timeout with 16 seconds remaining.
That offensive unit is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence, and they're attacking that weak middle zone of the Edmonton defense.
Obviously, he got instructions from the bench, running that hurry-up offense, looking to the end zone, dumps it off, and Moody gets to the 2. And now Dave Ritchie is going to call the timeout with 6 seconds remaining. Now it's decision time. Is there time for 2 plays?
If he gets to the line of scrimmage, makes that quick snap and quick release right now, if he's going to throw the ball. If not, they've got to run the ball, and I think they are. You got 6 seconds. You can get the play in. It depends on how quickly the refs get in and down the play and stop the clock.
Joe Paopao calling both Philpott and McManus over. Philpott comes into the ball game, and Darren Flutie goes out. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. McManus is going to throw it. He's taking a lot of time into the end zone. Wide open is Ray Alexander. 1 second remains, but Alexander was all by himself in the corner of the end zone.
What a time to score for the BC offense, to go down there with that kind of momentum going in at halftime. A miscue in the Edmonton Eskimos secondary allowed Ray Alexander to get wide open in the corner. Dan Murphy was very late getting over to coverage.
Lou Pasaglia adds the 24th points of the game for the BC Lions. And this is the most points the Edmonton defense has allowed in any one game this year. Coming into the game, they'd only given up 45, 23 in one game to the Saskatchewan Roughriders in their only loss. But Dave Ritchie has to be very pleased with what he has seen from his offensive team in this game tonight, particularly the play of Danny McManus.
McManus is very calm, cool, and collected as he comes out the back. He backs out. He's looking at Ray Alexander all the way. And you can see right in your picture at the right-hand side is Dan Murphy coming very late. Obviously a miscue in the secondary, as I said. And it allowed McManus and Alexander to hook up for a big score.
And both players, I'm sure, are thinking to themselves as McManus threw it in the end zone, please don't let him drop it. And Alexander is saying, please don't let me drop it. Wide open.
One gets paid to throw, one gets paid to catch, and all you got to do is go out there and do your job.
Little squib kick. And with just 1 second on the clock and the kickoff handled by the Edmonton Eskimos, that ends the first half with the Lions leading 24-15. Scott?
Mission of success, and for many players that success has transcended football. We'll talk about that as we invite you now to stay tuned for Live at the Half. Back in Edmonton now for Live at the Half. The Eskimos trail, which doesn't happen often at Commonwealth Stadium. In fact, fans here have come to expect success in large part because of the high standard set by the dynasty teams from 78 to 82. They were teams that played before standing room only crowds of 60,000 and experienced enormous success. In the late 70s and early 80s, there was never an unsold CFL seat in Edmonton. They came to see their Eskimos, perhaps not knowing they were cheering for one of the most successful pro sports franchises of all time. But 5 straight championships provide the evidence of the greatness of the Eskimos from 78 to 82. Canadian linebacker Tom Towns shared in every one of the championships in a decade-long career. He played alongside men like Dan Kepley and Dave Fennell, all of them willing to make any sacrifice for the team. The punishing hits that Towns and others dealt during the glory years would seem almost inappropriate preparation for the detailed delicacy of his chosen career as a jewelry designer. But he has a creative flair for designing and manufacturing pieces of jewelry in his exclusive Edmonton store. And what made the Eskimo dynasty teams seems to have made Towns a success in his life after football.
Well, I think it was quite unique in our situation because of the length of time that expired over those 5 years that we had won. I think it's the reason that we did win. We weren't all Americans or all Canadians. It was a character of the team, the personality, everybody worked so well together as a team. And that's the one thing that Hugh Campbell had really stipulated, that, you know, unless you have the personality and character to play with this team, it doesn't matter if you're the best athlete in the world, you will not be here.
On offense, a bad attitude can ruin a team, but that was never a factor with the great Eskimo teams. Receiver Brian Kelly was a perfect example. Never flashy, had little speed. All Kelly could do was get open and catch the ball. These days, he owns and runs a successful car dealership in Edmonton. Here, the team concept also applies. But Kelly sees his life and business as considerably more difficult than his previous career.
Playing sports and football is a lot easier job than running a business on a day-to-day basis. As a player and playing for the Eskimos, and as I did, it was the easiest job I'll ever had.
That's the play in the third. The most obvious example of a man who used the Eskimo Championships as a stepping stone is Warren Moon. He came to Canada as a young quarterback, undrafted by the NFL, and he played in the shadow of Tom Wilkinson, waiting patiently for his chance. Then Moon parlayed his CFL success into a career as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, currently in training camp with his Houston Oilers.
There has to be something behind that success, something behind that person. That person's got to be dedicated. It's got to be a driven type person. And successful people usually are successful in anything they do. So I'm sure it helps in a lot of other areas.
And our colleague Dan Kepley was a key member of the dynasty, a linebacker who struck fear into the hearts of opposing offenses, the dominant linebacker of his time, a three-time winner, the league's Outstanding Defensive Player Award. Well, Kep, the men we just talked to all seem to have filled the void, but you're well qualified to say it's not easy to find something as gratifying as the success you shared in here in the 70s and 80s.
Well, it certainly isn't. When you had the luxury of doing something that you loved and you did as a kid, and you were able to get paid to do it, and you had the kind of success that we had as a team, it's very hard to know that anything that you go out, because those were the best years of our lives, that anything that you go out there is going to be kind of second to the best. But I think there's a lot of us that have made it through it very well, and for me, being as close to this football as I am now is just as close and just as good as being there.
Kep, now that it's been 10 years since anybody's repeated as Grey Cup champions, in fact, the last team to do it was the last 2 years of the dynasty. Is it time to consider the possibility that there may never be another team as great as the ones you played on?
Well, without sounding arrogant or egotistical to a fact, when I look and we talk to some of the guys now, we look at and go, holy gee, we were good. We were really good. And when you look at the kind of athletes and the kind of people that are playing out there now, for us to have won a championship 5 years in a row, it really speaks highly for our team and the attitude that we had.
Okay, Kep, thanks for your time. When Live at the Half returns, we'll go live to Toronto to try and separate fact from fiction with respect to the rumors of a possible sale of the Ticats. There's the chairman of the board standing by to talk to us live. Here the Lions lead by 9 after 30 minutes. Live at the Half will return.
Grandpa used to say, why climb a wall if there's a ladder? Little homespun wisdom that still makes sense. Well, we were plowing through invoices and statements, trying to cut costs. And then I remembered Grandpa's advice. So I called AGT. They've got the experts. It was easy. They just asked a few questions, did a quick analysis, and came up with the way to save.
Long-distance savings. Call now. 1-800-661-1800.
Now I just wish Grandpa had said something about capital depreciation.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's water seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Now, when life turns up the heat, there's Degree Antiperspirant. Because it's body heat activated, Degree turns on extra protection when you really need it. Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Oh, there's a big one.
Well, come on, bring it down here then.
Oh, I could go for both. Look at that.
Oh,
look.
Pretty nice.
Hey, not bad.
But you see, it's not all good in the garden, is it?
Oh, well, but your end is all gone funny.
Well, that's what happens.
Look,
Successes and failures.
Well, we can eat both of them, can't we?
Well, you could, yeah.
Ah, the thrill is in the gardening, friends. There's great rewards if you'll only try it. So, watch The Canadian Gardener.
Saturdays on CBC.
Young lady. And Denholm Elliott star in a tale of deception.
I need help, Mr. Carlisle.
And passion. The epic 6-part miniseries Bangkok Hilton, Monday on CBC.
When you're preparing lunch, they're comparing facts. When you're sipping soup, they're seeking stories. When your clock strikes midday, their theme music plays. Tina Sribotniak and Kevin Newman bring you Midday, weekdays at noon.
In the first half at Commonwealth Stadium, the Lions have handled the Eskimo defense the way no other team has all season long. Oh, that the game would always be the story, but that's not true currently in the CFL, certainly not in Hamilton, where the Ticats underline the league's current dilemma. American owners lined up to get in, and fans in Canadian cities doing anything but. For last night's game with Saskatchewan, Ticats drew 16,000. The team's break-even number this season is 23,000 per game. In 3 regular season home games, the Cats have not been close to it. Nothing, it seems, can get the fans into Iverwin Stadium, not even a team with a winning record. The Ticats are 3-2 after last night's loss. Just over a year ago, a public group headed by Roger Yachetti took over operation of the Ticats for the express purpose of keeping the team in Hamilton. It's clear that that group cannot continue much longer with crowds the like of which the Ticats drew last night. And as you can see, Roger Yachetti joins us live now from one of our studios in Toronto. Roger, you so far have been very cool to overtures made by Washington real estate man Sal Biondo. I'm wondering if the way things are going, you soon may have no other choice but to sell the team, providing he makes an offer as he says he will.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's accurate to say we've been cool to Mr. Biondo. We've met with him on 3 occasions. The first time about 6 weeks ago, he told us an offer would be forthcoming within a week. Here we are, August the 7th, I guess it is, no offer. I spoke to him yesterday. He tells me that he and his partners will have an offer for the team by Tuesday of next week. I'm not going to hold my breath, nor should we hold our breath in Hamilton, because the present management, the present board of directors, the present structure is prepared to carry through with this year and beyond, hopefully.
I guess the question is then, how much longer can you continue with crowds in the area of 16,000?
Well, let's separate fact from fiction, Scott, firstly. Factually, yes, we are struggling financially. We have been for a year, over a year now. The fiction part of it is that we are in danger of some imminent demise. That is simply not the case. Our regular meeting of the board of directors will take place on Tuesday of next week. We have an excellent board of directors, a brain trust I like to call them. I think that they are fully apprised of the financial situation, and if a contingency plan is necessary, it will come forward. I think, too, I just want to say this, I think that some people hope that this financial demise theory will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we're bound and determined to see that that doesn't happen.
Roger, when you took over the team about 13 months ago, you had high hopes of turning things around, and obviously so far that has not worked out. Have you been disappointed? Do you feel as though you're banging your head against the wall in Hamilton?
I'm disappointed, but it's not quite correct to say that we haven't turned it around. I think we've turned it around to a great extent. Our crowds were up last year. They're about the same at this present time. We're looking forward to increasing numbers for the balance of the season. Our corporate sponsors are on board. Our founding sponsors are on board. The media has been tremendous in support. I think we're doing very nicely.
Well, you and your group, Roger, I was going to say, you and your group have done your best in Hamilton. It would only be justice if things did work out for you, and we hope it does in some way. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Scott.
Meanwhile, close to 30,000 on hand here at Commonwealth Stadium tonight. They're not happy so far. The second half kickoff is up next.
Sir, what's your fondest memory from the summer of '91?
I don't know.
Why, I'd have to say the McDonald's McChicken Club. I can still taste it.
Okay, so maybe everyone doesn't remember the last time they had the great taste of a McChicken Club with bacon, tomato, and lettuce.
This is a photo of me with my first McChicken Club. Oh, how I miss those days.
This month, by popular demand, the McChicken Club is back.
The McChicken Club is back? Oh, tell me it's true.
Right here, we're on the beach.
At Participaction, we've got a great idea for you. Active living. It's fun, and it's good for you. Participaction. Moving your way every day.
Hi, I'm Bruce Steele. In these days of deficit reduction, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and What on Earth have combined to bring you lean, mean, cost-effective programming. Last fall, we began with a fresh new series of What on Earth programs. From now until September, it's the best of those shows. 2 showings for the price of 1. What a deal! What a concept! Now, before you say, repeats, did you see each of those shows from the very beginning? Be honest now. This is public broadcasting.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bernie Bouquet, and every week on Pet Connection, we tell you how to take care of your pet.
whether it's a dog or a cat or even a snake, right here on CBC.
Avonlea. No matter where I live, this will always be my home. The place where a stubborn redhead stole my heart and changed my life forever. And now I'm back.
Road to Avonlea, Sunday.
To start the game, the BC Lions won the coin toss. They deferred their choice to the second half, and they have opted to receive. So Sean Fleming gets the second half underway, driving the ball to Lonnie Turner at the 25-yard line. Turner runs into a couple of his own players before being down at the 38-yard line. And that's where the BC Lions, under the direction of this man, Danny McManus, will scrimmage 1st and 10. What an impressive first half for Danny McManus, as he used all of his receivers. His favorite targets were Clark and Alexander. But he was able to put the ball in everybody's hands in the first half.
And he wanted to pick up right here in the second half exactly where he left off. It was very important to touch the ball offensively first and try to make something happen.
Ed Berry remains on the bench. He was shaken up in the second quarter. Doug Parrish is playing the corner. Philpott started outside, cuts back inside, and converts it into a gain of about 8 yards. The Lions have been looking for a long time for a burner, and they feel they have a real speed merchant in Corey Philpott.
Good quick feet that time as he broke it to the outside. The hole was plugged up the middle. He breaks it off the tackle outside. There's Willie Pless. He makes a little juke and a move inside, gets away from Willie. Willie makes him cut back inside, but there's where Willie's expecting that the pursuit is supposed to make that tackle.
On 2nd and 1, Sean Millington will pick up the first down, taking the ball up to the 50-yard line. 24-15, the BC Lions lead, and they have an edge statistically, a big edge in terms of net yards, first downs, and time of possession. Actually, a big edge in every offensive category. Clark on the receiving end of a Danny McManus throw, close to another first down, tackled by Don Wilson.
Doug Parrish and Don Wilson cleaning up for the tackle.
Clark does an excellent job of reading the defense. Edmonton's in a zone defense. You've got number 14 playing deep in the zone, and then all of a sudden Don Wilson has got the short zone, and as Clark comes off, able to sit down, make the quick hitch. McManus reads it and makes a big completion just short of the first down.
Less than a yard shy of a first down. Matt Clark, a yard shy of 100 receiving yards for tonight's football game.
Again, Edmonton is lining up with their 6 DBs. That's number 14. That's Doug Parrish coming in. And all of a sudden, they take out Jed Roberts, the defensive lineman. They line up with 3 guys up front, with Hunter, Woods, and Goods. Leroy Blue at the other end, and then Willie Pless and Larry Ruck, the inside linebacker.
On 2nd and short, Danny McManus keeps. He gets the first down. Clark's best game as a receiver this year, 11 receptions in the season opener against the Saskatchewan Roughriders for 136 yards. So he is 37 yards away from equaling that output tonight against the Edmonton Eskimos. 12:45 remaining in the third quarter. 1st and 10. The BC Lions at the 49 of the Eskimos. Here comes the blitz. McManus's pass incomplete. There was also a penalty flag. It was intended for Darren Flutie.
Late flag left. The only contact that took place was with Wilson and Flutie, and they may be calling pass interference.
Willie Pless was blitzing, but he couldn't get to McManus
Forward
in time.
pass interference, non-intentional, number 20 Edmonton, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down BC.
Well, the penalty gives the BC Lions another first down, this one at the 39-yard line. Ron Lancaster was concerned about his offense coming into the game, but he subscribed to the theory that you win football games with defense and special teams. But tonight his defensive unit has not been able to control Danny McManus and the BC Lions. McManus strikes again to Alexander. McManus has quite a record as a starting quarterback. When he was with Winnipeg, when he got the opportunity to step in and begin a football game, he didn't lose.
Danny McManus just wheeled out on his own. They sealed off the corner extremely well, prevented any containment from coming upfield, allowing Danny McManus to get full view downfield, and Ray Alexander did a great job of running. That's Sean Millington, and also then you get the big Jim Mills pulling out in front of McManus, allowing him that much time to complete the pass.
Clark was the man McManus was looking for at the goal line. It went off his fingertips, incomplete. The impressive thing about what McManus has done tonight, I think, Dan, to the Edmonton defense, is the way he's been able to pick it apart. No big passes, no big plays, just 10, 15 yards, that type of thing.
This defense won't allow big plays against him, and I think in this case it's a compliment to the way the BC offense is working. They're taking exactly what the Edmonton defense is willing to give them, and they're continuing to take it until Edmonton makes a change. Then they'll make a change and an adjustment to try to take something else away from them.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the 22. McManus for Flutie. First down inside the 10-yard line, brought down by Don Wilson. BC tonight, inside the 25-yard line, has scored touchdowns on three of the 4 occasions they have penetrated that deeply.
Lonnie Turner, he's coming in and he's tipping the scales at about 5'8", 157 pounds. It doesn't take a lot to knock him off balance.
But you better knock him off balance because he might have problems catching him.
Exactly. The only thing you're going to see is that long hair out of the back of the helmet trailing you, and that's not a pretty sight when it's running away from you.
1st and goal from inside the 10. Philpott cuts back inside and fights to about the 6 where he's stopped by Willie Pless. Philpott has already scored 2 touchdowns. Ray Alexander has the other. The BC Lions this year, and this is a good omen for you BC fans, they have never lost a game when leading at the half or after 3 quarters. 10:09 remaining. 24-15 is the score. Tonight, 78 rushing yards. They're ahead of their seasonal average. 2nd and goal from the 6. McManus looks to the end zone. It's incomplete. He was looking for Ray Alexander. Now, did Ray Alexander slip or did he get knocked down by Damian Lyons, who was defending against him?
McManus had plenty of time to throw the ball as he comes out. All Ray Alexander wants to do is come. He wants to do a little hook inside, then slide it back out to the corner to the flag. But as he does, his feet get tripped up and he just loses his balance. It's a very good thing that the ball was thrown to the corner, or else that could have been 6 and a pick going the other way.
Lou Pasaglia will attempt the field goal from the 14-yard line. And the veteran has little difficulty in making it 27-15 with 9:38 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
You're not going to find a job just like that. Most jobs need at least high school.
Yeah, dropping out will get me nowhere. I thought you wanted to be something. I do, but I can't take it anymore.
Whether you stay in school or drop out is your decision. For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
You've been waiting and waiting to get a big deal on a brand new 93 just before the 94s arrive. Well, wait no longer. Announcing the big one. The sales event you've been waiting for at your Pontiac Buick GMC dealers. Featuring low lease rates, great financing, and huge cashbacks on thousands of cars and trucks. Like GMC full-size pickups, which carry the day with big deals. Or Buick LeSabre, big on style, comfort, and savings. Come into your Pontiac Buick GMC dealers during the big one. It's the sales event of the year. Hurry, we're making big deals on 93.
It's just like losing one of your family.
One by one, they've disappeared.
To see it disintegrating is really, really sad.
A crisis at the world-famous London Zoo on Witness Tuesday.
Police, stop!
He's a tough cop who's got everything under control. Everything but his mom. Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot on the CBC Wednesday Night Movie.
One of the reasons Dave Ritchie has had success as a defensive coordinator in the past in Winnipeg and Ottawa is that he has a good memory. When we talked with him yesterday and asked what he expected from the Edmonton Eskimos, he said, in every game I've coached against Adam Rita, he's always throwing that bimbo package at us. So I think he was expecting it.
So, yeah, exactly. What Edmonton came up with that two tight end situation wasn't anything that Coach Ritchie hadn't prepared for during the course of the week.
Blake Marshall, the ball carrier, stopped after a pickup of just a couple of yards. James West, number 56, was one of those in the stop. West is going to miss the next game that the BC Lions play. That broken thumb that he has in a cast is moving on him. So he is going to have it operated on and have a pin put in it. And he will miss the next game that the BC Lions play as a result.
And anytime a guy with the ability of James West and his leadership qualities is off the field, that team is going to hurt. And hopefully that the rest of these players for the BC Lions are going to have to jump up and rise to the occasion.
Zach Allen is after Damon Allen, but he gets the pass away intended for Sandusky. He was being covered by Andre Francis. It's interesting, the next game that the BC Lions play is against Toronto. And then they have a home game against Winnipeg. Edmonton plays in Winnipeg and Toronto. So these two teams have the same foes coming up in their next two contests.
Sandusky right at the end has to go from offensive player to defensive player to be able to knock that pass away so that Andre Francis doesn't intercept it.
Lonnie Turner waits for the ball back at the 34-yard line. He's a man with 4.3 speed, but so far the Eskimos have been able to contain him, and they do it again, shutting down the sideline, which they have done against most teams this year, limiting punt returns to an average of 3.2 yards per carry. Checking the scoring in the game, the first touchdown, a toss from Damon Allen to Casey Dunn, a 28-yard score, 8-3 Edmonton. But then the BC Lions took over. A 109-yard drive, capped by a toss to Corey Philpott. Then Philpott on a 17-yard reception, 17-8. Ricky Foggy scored on a 1-yard plunge before the half ended. It was Ray Alexander taking the toss from Danny McManus for a 24-15 halftime lead. McManus throws to Clark, and Clark takes it to the 45 of the Eskimos. Trent Brown made the tackle. Clark having a big game, closing in on his best performance of the season, 136 yards against Saskatchewan back in July.
Going right back into this big open area is what's wide open. As he comes back, he's going to find Clark right here, just working in behind the linebackers. He looks back off, plenty of space there. Clark does a great job, and McManus has got full vision right down the field.
Back to the live action, and Alexander was the man on the sidelines that McManus was looking to, but he couldn't hang on. 7:24 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Let's bring in Scotto.
Well, Don, one of the reasons the Lions are moving the ball effectively as we speak against the Eskimos is that, I'm not sure if you can see him, but Ed Berry's on the bench here with a jacket on. Took a shot to the ribs late in the first half, and he will not return tonight. That stretches the Eskimos' defensive secondary to the limit.
They don't have a large number of players in camp. Penalty flag on the play as Hunter was pressuring Danny McManus.
Holding call against BC, Whit.
BC number 55, decline. Third down.
Ian Sinclair, for the third time tonight, called for holding.
Take a look at it right in the middle of your screen. Really Pless is coming right up the middle. Ian Sinclair has got the hands on Tony Woods just at the right-hand side. Incidental call, but they do call it as holding.
Some teams in the CFL have half a dozen, maybe 10 extra bodies hanging around. I think the Eskimos only have about 3 or 4 extra people in camp, so when a player goes down, they don't have a great reserve to draw from. Brown waits for the ball at the 2-yard line. He went back into the end zone, and he's tackled for a safety touch.
Late flag is thrown back up the field, and let's see what the call will be.
6:34 is the time remaining in the third quarter. We'll sort it out when we return.
Of all the cars and trucks built in Canada, 1 in 4 is built by Chrysler. Even more significant, 90% are built for export. That provides thousands of jobs for Canadians and pours billions of dollars into our economy. At Chrysler, we're not just building cars, we're building Canada.
Dreams. Not just for yourself, but more for your kids.
Yeah, hoping the future will be okay and they'll be happy.
Sharing. You know, not seeing everything the same old way.
Yeah, like having an appreciation of how other people live.
Saying that's one thing. Meaning it? Well, that's another.
Bank of Montreal. We're paying attention.
Great. But as customers, we'll be watching.
Joshua Williams, baseball player, swimmer, and safety ambassador for the War Amps Champ program. Joshua knows what it means to play safe. During a boat ride, he got too close to the edge and fell overboard. The motor severed his leg. Now, he must wear an artificial one. Joshua has a warning for all children.
Don't let it happen to you. Play safe. Yes.
A message from the War Amps.
Trent Brown, number 28, was called guilty of an illegal block. As we go right here, this is Ken Haley. Right here, you'll see Trent Brown will come from your left-hand side and get a shot right into the back. Boom, right there. They call the illegal block, and the penalty will be declined. It'll be a safety against the Edmonton Eskimos, and they will kick the ball off.
Yes, the BC Lions really gain on the third down punt as they pick up the 2 points, and they also get the ball back. Darren Flutie takes the kickoff, heads to the outside, and Flutie gets to the 44 before being pushed out of bounds by Hunter. 29-15, the BC Lions lead with 6:28 remaining in the third quarter.
One of the highlights that the Edmonton Eskimos have been the attitude of their specialty teams. They've increased their speed. That's, again, when you got a lot of force coming down and you got a lot of force getting hit with, that's what happens. Jed Roberts trying to get in there, throw his body, has no concern for his body whatsoever, and give it up and try to be a wedge breaker.
He plays as though he's got somebody else's body inside that number 43 uniform. Here comes Don Wilson. He's picked up, and the pass is over the head of Alexander. You never really know where Wilson is going to line up. He's listed as an inside halfback, but he comes from a variety of positions, and trying to find Don Wilson is the problem that the BC Lions were expected to have in this game, but so far tonight, they've done a pretty good job of adjusting.
An excellent job of adjusting, as you say, and again, one of the things that came with that trade with Toronto was Wilson and also Ed Berry. Don Wilson will line up on either side, whether it's weak or strong, and they will blitz him from anywhere on the field at any time.
Here comes the pressure again. Again, it's picked up, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Alexander.
Hit him in a tough spot. Hit him right in the hands, right in the chest. And Ray knows for sure that he should have had that one. McManus does a great job. As soon as he makes the cut, the ball's in the air now, and he hits him right in the hands, right in the face. It could have been a knockout throw.
Doug Parrish was just a little late in getting up on Ray Alexander, but he's upset with himself for his inability to hang on to the Danny McManus throw. 5:45 remaining in the third quarter. Lou Pasaglia, back in his 1983 season, averaged 52 yards per punt. He's down about 12 yards per kick in average now, but he's a more accurate kicker, trying to angle it away from this man, the Gizmo, but this time the Gizmo grabs the ball, and then the Gizmo is grabbed and driven back to the 15-yard line. 5:23 remaining in the third quarter.
You can't beat the summer, man. It's the official season of hanging on the beach, being with your friends, and any sport involving water. But before you go diving, use your head. Because if you accidentally dive into shallow water, you stand a really good chance of never standing again. And for some of you, using your head will take on a whole new meaning. So think first. Make sure you're back next summer.
I'm Sandy Cushion on a visit to Wingfield Farm. The highly popular comedy dramas of Wingfield Farm provide plenty of laughs, and they also have some sharp things to say about farm life in Canada.
I may only get 1 acre plowed, and it may not sprout till Halloween.
A visit to Wingfield Farm, Sunday on Country Canada's Summer Series.
On Street Legal,
I'm trying to save my film.
has Olivia gone too far this time?
I vote that your partnership in this firm be terminated.
Then,
Leon, I want our child to be healthy.
a personal dilemma for Alana.
Are you having second thoughts again because of this case?
Thursday on Street Legal.
I see you in a cage like the bird.
Sold into marriage by her family, they took away the only thing she loved, her music. An epic tale based on a true story. A Bride's Tears, Sunday.
4,400 young athletes have been gathering in Kamloops, BC for the past few days. The Canada Games begin there tomorrow, and we'll have daily coverage beginning with the opening ceremonies at 4:30 Eastern. Ron McLean and Elfie Schlegel will describe them. And Don, on Monday, you're off to Stuttgart, Germany to begin preparing for the World Track and Field Championships.
Yes, looking forward to the World Championships, and I'm sure Sean Footy is as well, because France Garreau, a young lady whom he dates, is going to be a member of the Canadian team. The pass complete to Sandusky. He takes it up to the 27-yard line, taken out of bounds by Plummer. I'm also going to be interested to follow the Canada Games, because I have a vested interest in the women's field hockey competition.
And what may that be?
My daughter happens to play for the Manitoba team.
Oh, you're kidding me. All right. That's terrific. Oh,
no end of athletic talent in the Whitman family.
I'll leave that alone exactly where it stands. You haven't had any blood tests or anything, have you, with that?
Williams on the hitch screen, and the Gizmo gets another Edmonton first down. Brought down by Tom Europe. 4:41, the time remaining in the third quarter. 29-15, the Lions lead it.
Well, the Giz is such a game breaker and such an exciting player that you've got to figure out how to get the ball to him somehow. If Louis Pasaglia is going to kick the ball away from him, he's not going to be able to return any punts. Then you got to get the hitch screens, or you get him involved in the offense somehow, and he makes something happen once he touches the ball.
Casey Dunn has made something happen when he's had the ball thrown in his direction. He has scored a touchdown, and he provides the Eskimos with another first down.
Casey Dunn, a receiver that's coming in with a lot of experience here, was here last year, and he's filling in very, very well in this core of receivers. And that gives a real solid front of 4 good receivers across the board that Damon Allen or whoever is the quarterback for Edmonton can throw to.
2 speed merchants, Brown and Gizmo, line up wide left. Allen looks that way, but dumps it off for Michael Souls. It was just beyond his reach. The Eskimos do not have an import running back. They are quite confident in the abilities of Blake Marshall, Brian Walling, and Michael Souls to do the job. Second and 10. For Sandusky, he makes the catch at the 40, breaks the tackle. There's a penalty flag in the play. Andre Francis catches up with Sandusky. The ball popped away from him, but he managed to get it back. There was a penalty flag in the play as well.
There was some contact between Casey Dunn and Bruce Plummer. Let's see what the call.
Forward pass interference. BC number 22, decline.
Pass interference call was against safety Sean Footy. It's a gain of 30 yards. Pretty good running by Sandusky after catching the ball.
Well, he's sneaky fast in that sense, and he's got great concentration where Andre Francis loses sight of the ball, Sandusky maintains his composure, comes back to the ball, concentration, picks it up, then makes a big play out of it.
The Gizmo takes the hit screen, gets a block from Brown, and will be close to another first down. Tom Europe made the tackle. Well, the Gizmo isn't having the impact on this game the way many thought he would as a punt returner, but as a pass receiver, he has certainly made things happen for the Eskimos.
Les Brown does a good job of coming up, and what he does, he takes on the block by Brown coming in from the slot and forces Giz to have to cut back inside. And once he cuts back inside, Europe is inside, and he makes a good pursuit angle to be able to keep Giz from going in for a score.
It will be short of a first down. It will be second and less than one with 2:38 remaining in the third quarter. 29-15. The Lions lead the Eskimos. The Eskimos began this drive on their own 17-yard line, and under the direction of Damon Allen, they are now at the 21.5 of the BC Lions. Damon Allen will keep. He will pick up a first down as he follows his offensive line to about the 18-yard line. A veteran offensive line, a very talented offensive line.
Damon Allen showing a very veteran attitude out there as far as when he came back on the field. Again, he was very content to be and take exactly what the BC defense would give him. He's composed. He wants to march the ball, nickel and dime it down the field.
As the raindrops fall, Damon Allen scrimmages 1st and 10 from the 18, throws to Dunn. Penalty flag on the play. It looks like a face mask call against Plummer.
Face mask. BC number 29. First down, Edmonton.
The violation will take the ball to the 4.5-yard line.
Good play right here. This is Zoc Allen that's coming in, but Michael Souls is able to seal off that corner, and that allows Damon Allen to break the containment, get outside, and complete the out pattern to Casey Dunn.
1st and goal. Blake Marshall slips, and Blake Marshall is then driven back by O.J. Brigance. Well, I said raindrops were beginning to fall. They're coming down rather heavily right now as some of the fans scatter for cover, and out come the umbrellas. Second and goal, Eskimos. The ball at the 4. 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Damon Allen fakes. He'll run. He'll score. He used the 2 receivers wide right as a decoy. Used that pump fake to freeze the defense momentarily, and then ran it in.
Damon Allen at his best. It shows his maturity again as he comes back. He does want to throw the ball downfield. Good coverage by the BC secondary. He was able to pull the ball down, and then Damon Allen is just fluid with his speed. I think he comes by that quite naturally with his brother Marcus Allen being able to run the ball and getting it into the end zone. He does it very, very well.
Sean Fleming adds the point after, and with 26 seconds remaining in the third quarter, 7 points separating the BC Lions and the Edmonton Eskimos. Well, back in 1991, Damon Allen ran for 1,036 yards, but he hasn't been running as much this year as he has in the past.
Well, I think in the past when quarterbacks with this kind of ability come up into this league, they know for a fact that they can run the ball, and they try to run it a little too much because that is their main stay of getting out of trouble. A lot of times after you take a few poundage and you take a couple of hits that these guys can give you out there, you start learning to be a little more mature, and you start wanting to throw the ball a little bit more and then running when you have to, not because you're afraid.
We saw Danny McManus put together a 109-yard touchdown drive. Damon Allen comes through with a drive of his own, a 93-yard march for a major score that has the Eskimos within a converted touchdown of tying this game. Flutie waits for the ball at the 10-yard line. And he's stopped as he drives up to the 30 by Bruce Dixon. Dixon, number 36 for the Edmonton Eskimos. And Danny alluded earlier to the speed that the Edmonton Eskimos have in their special teams. The addition of J.P. Esquerdo and Dixon as part of the trade with Toronto improved special teams speed and play.
Well, without a doubt. And then when you match those up with guys like Brian Walling, and also then you got Larry Ruck and the Jed Roberts and the Malvin Hunters, those guys that go out there with an attitude, it helps them, and they are having great success of understanding that the special team is a big third of this game.
Clark has been a big factor in the game for the BC Lions, and he makes another catch for a first down at the 41. And that should be the final play of the opening quarter. 29-22, the BC Lions lead. We'll be back after this.
It's the weekend, and this man has lost his traveler's checks. And so has he. He bought the first traveler's checks he was offered, while this man insisted on American Express. So while this man would get a refund, but not quite yet, he just called the people at American Express, while he had to be patient. American Express can hand deliver your refund to over 600 million locations around the world, virtually anywhere there's a phone. American Express traveler's checks. Insist on them.
Ducks Unlimited was the dream of sportsmen who knew that the waterfowl of North America needed extraordinary help to survive and thrive. Dreams rarely become real without planning and dedication. The transformation of Ducks Unlimited from a well-intentioned vision to a living, growing movement could be likened to the creation by a skillful woodcarver of a finely crafted waterfowl decoy. Restoring vibrancy and life to our wetlands is a challenge. Like creating good art, it requires imagination, skill, and hard work. Ducks Unlimited has fulfilled the vision of its creators beyond their wildest dreams. Ducks Unlimited.
Well, as we took our break, I may have inadvertently said at the end of the first quarter. It is obviously the end of the third quarter. Statistically, the BC Lions have quite an edge in every category. Surprisingly, this football game has not produced a turnover.
And that is something that basically the Edmonton defense has been very strong in. They've created 10 fumble recoveries and also 10 interceptions through the course of this season.
First and 10 as we start the fourth quarter from the 40-yard line. McManus hands off to Sean Millington. Millington trying to fight his way forward, but he can't escape the grasp of Ruck and Pless. Millington, a former member of the Edmonton Eskimos. At one time, they really had depth in Canadian running backs.
Certainly did, and it's a compliment to a guy like Sean Millington that he was able to hook on with another team and show his ability to play. He's a very, very capable running back or fullback.
Second and 8. McManus out of the shotgun. McManus will run the ball. He'll get the first down, and he has some room over on the sidelines. And he wisely runs out of bounds with 3 Eskimos in pursuit.
Very typical situation defensively when you have a quarterback like McManus that you know is not a threat to scramble and run. You play the defense. You cover the receivers. You don't let yourself get beat by the big play. And then all of a sudden, when he does have the opportunity to break this line of scrimmage, and then there's nobody there, he's running right to the secondary, and he's able to run out of bounds and pick up a big first down and keep the clock running.
25 yards on the run by McManus. The Eskimos averaging 11.3 yards against per season, a total that has almost been tripled tonight by the BC Lions. Ryan Hansen in the ball game. A penalty flag on the play.
3 yards on the play. Good penetration by the Eskimos.
We'll wait for the call from referee Ken Lazarus.
Face mask. Edmonton number 89. 15-yard penalty. First down, BC.
The face mask call against Leroy Blue provides BC with another first down.
Just right off the right of your screen right there. Leroy Blue at the outside linebacker position reaches up, grabs a hand. Hansen able to break outside. Willie Pless comes in, scrapes from the middle. A good technique inside out. Is able to make the tackle, but the penalty took place prior to that against Leroy Blue.
At the 27-yard line, it's first and 10, BC.
That rain is really coming down now out there.
If you plan on playing golf tomorrow, you might have to be a pretty good putter. Corey Philpott can't get beyond the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, Melvin Hunter may have stopped him for a loss of one. What alleged handicap are you playing at these days, by the way? Never mind, I don't want to hear it.
This, unfortunately, this weather condition is going to go against, I feel, against the BC Lions. One of their biggest successes that they had was being able to throw the ball downfield, nickel and diamond over the middle of that soft zone that the Edmonton defense has been playing. Now they have to run against a very potent speed defense, and it makes it tough.
Second and 11. Trevathan, touchdown. Well,
so there we go.
Had no problems, and there goes your theory.
So what do I know about this game anyway?
Murphy, who was trying to defend against Trevathan, may have slipped as Trevathan made his move, and he was wide open in the end zone.
Just a miscue there. It's got to be. They're playing the zone underneath. Willie Pless walks up as the linebacker. McManus looks to his right a bit, and then he comes back to the slot inside his left. Must have looked off Dan Murphy, the safety, and it allows that seam pattern right up the middle.
And Lou Pasaglia adds the point after to restore BC's 14-point lead.
Unless you spend a small fortune, all you get from most car companies is bare bones. But in Hyundai's More Car for Your Cash event, you get quality features, like more room than Camry or Accord from this luxurious Sonata, only $11,995. Or enjoy sporty performance from the Scoop for only $10,495. Both with no charge automatic and one of the best warranties. Hyundai's More Car for Your Cash event. Feature for feature, your best value. No bones about it.
Excuse me, allergy sufferers, it's me, Ragweed. I know I make you sick, but it's not easy being ragweed. All my life I have been uprooted, weeded out. So do me a favor, take Claritin. It'll relieve your itchy eyes, runny nose, and sneezing real fast. Or if I give you extra allergic congestion, Claritin Extra. But don't take my word for it. Claritin's also the non-drowsy brand doctors recommend most. You could learn to love me.
Sounds great. Okay, bye-bye. In real estate, you just can't stop for a bad headache. Now I have more choices for pain relief. I've tried ASA, I've tried acetaminophen, but today I choose Advil. My doctor recommended Advil. For my headaches, Advil has the strength to deliver really effective pain relief. For my tough pain, one is often enough. And for me, it's important that there's little chance of stomach upset. Thanks.
Ask your pharmacist about Advil for today's tough pain.
Mike Trevathan has only caught 2 passes tonight, but the last catch was a beauty, a 27-yarder for a touchdown, restoring the Lions' 14-point lead.
Excellent play, again, good offensive line blocking. McManus takes a little peek out to his right, enough to influence the safety. That's Don Wilson is standing in the middle, and allows Trevathan to slide right up the seam again. As you said, easy pitch and catch.
Mitchell takes the ball at the 18-yard line. And Mitchell is upended at the 37 by Doug Hockey. 12:19 remaining in the game. Scott?
Well, Don, I'm going to credit Dan with the most astute comment made in this telecast so far when he said a few moments ago that rain is really coming down now. And normally on natural turf, when it starts to rain like this, players will change to cleats. But there's no need to do that at Commonwealth Stadium because the drainage on this field is superior to any other. It drains almost immediately, and traction is still pretty good.
Well, this field will have to absorb a fair amount of moisture the way it is raining right now. takes the throw. Knocked out of bounds by Sean Foodie. Allen with a good fake. And then he caught Brown for 36 yards.
Good play. Just a fake hitch, a screen pass that they had been calling to Gizmo earlier, and then Eddie Brown was coming out to block the cornerback, and this time all he does, he fakes the block, turns it straight up the field, and Damon gets a good pump fake and then hits Eddie Brown in stride.
Back to the live action, the pass incomplete, intended for Sandusky. It may have been tipped by veteran Andre Francis.
With the knockdown.
You know, this was a tough year for Andre Francis as we see him come up to knock the ball away from Sandusky at training camp. He's quite concerned. He had a benign tumor removed from his right eye, and they are checking Andre Francis every 3 to 6 months to make sure he has no further problems. Damon Allen is going to be dropped for a loss by Sean Foodie, the safety. Sean Foodie has to play with his shoulder strapped down, the result of an injury he picked up a couple of games back.
Good look here, Dad. It's just a quarterback draw. As Damon Allen comes here, you'll see Blake Marshall come in and trap him from the inside. It's a call play of what they want to fake. That there he comes back inside. Blake Marshall comes and tries to lead the block, but there's good pursuit angles, and most of the time, the safety is not included in the blocking scheme, and there's where Foodie comes up and makes a big tackle.
11:15 remaining in the game. 36-22. The BC Lions lead. And this Glenn Harper kick is going to roll out of bounds. Foodie does not get an opportunity to field it. So it's now 36-23. The BC Lions in front. 11:03 remaining in the ball game. The BC Lions attempting to move into a tie for second place with the Edmonton Eskimos. Danny McManus in throwing the touchdown pass to Mike Trevathan may have jammed his thumb on the helmet of one of the Edmonton defenders.
Certainly had, and then they bring Danny Barrett in. It's a great combination. It's not exactly like they're losing anything by having their original starter come in to take over in this position.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 35-yard line. Barrett throws for Flutie. First down at the midfield stripe. Parrish made the tackle. Well, Danny Barrett came into the ball game and on his first play delivers a 20-yard strike to Doug Flutie.
Well, I may have to correct Scott Oakes in this situation where he said the most profound statement that I made was concerning the rain coming down. I think it was that I said that the BC Lions was going to have trouble throwing the ball, and then they throw a touchdown, and then Danny Barrett comes back and makes it look very easy in a pitch and catch with Flutie.
Flutie lines up wide left. 1st and 10, the ball at midfield. Barrett had difficulties with the exchange from center. He picks up about a yard. It will be 2nd and 9. 10 minutes remaining in the football game. 36-23. The BC Lions lead. Danny McManus, 28 completions for 370 yards and 4 touchdown passes.
Ball snapped right through obviously the moisture is having some serious effect on that. Went right through the hands of Danny Barrett.
Second down, a handoff to Philpott. Philpott using his blocking very well. Loses the football. The Eskimos have got it. Larry Ruck apparently caused the fumble. But the Eskimos, with 9:19 remaining, get the football.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Oh, a little bungalow someplace. You know, your own backyard.
Not renting. Right?
A bank that understands how hard it is to save for a down payment.
Now we can save for a house while using a credit card.
nice to know we're getting something out of it.
I see a barbecue in the backyard.
I see a swing set.
You're not gonna find a job just like that. Most jobs need at least high school.
Yeah, dropping out will get me nowhere. I thought you wanted to be something. I do, but I can't take it anymore.
Whether you stay in school or drop out is your decision. For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's water seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Larry Ruck caused the fumble after a good run by Corey Philpott. Philpott was very slow in getting up after Ruck reached out and pulled him down, and he lost the football in the process.
Good counter trap that time, and again, you get a good lead up front, good block on Willie Pless, but then Larry Ruck comes from way on the offside, good pursuit, strips the ball from Corey Philpott, causes the fumble. Edmonton defense comes up big.
9:11 remaining in the game. Damon Allen getting set, throwing to the sidelines, and Sandusky is stopped, it would appear, a yard short of a first down by Andre Francis.
Late flag came in from the back judge.
Take the ball, slow down. We don't have to get greedy.
You're right. You put your butt through now.
A rough play call against the BC Lions. That will improve the field position of the Eskimos with 9 minutes remaining.
Unnecessary roughness. BC number 22. First down, Edmonton.
The call goes against safety Sean Foodie.
I can promise you just saw that little signal come in from Coach Ritchie on the sideline. He wasn't blowing a kiss to Sean Foodie after taking that. He actually is one of the head coaches that gets very involved with his defense, and he calls the signals on the sideline.
First and 10, the ball is at the 53 of the BC Lions. Damon Allen was trying the pump fake and was hit from behind by Glenn Scrivener. The ball popped free, but they rule that Damon Allen was down. And the ground, of course, cannot make you fumble. And when you've got Glenn Scrivener bringing you down,
he can make you fumble.
It's not surprising the ball would pop loose. Allen trying to run, now throwing, and it's deflected. He was looking for Jim Sandusky, and there is also a penalty flag on the play. He may have been over the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball.
Legal pass. Edmonton number 9. Over the line of scrimmage. Decline.
And that is the call against Damon Allen. He was trying to run away from the initial pressure. Then he thought it would seem he had Sandusky open, but he had crossed the line of scrimmage and was fortunate that the pass was not intercepted.
One of the trademarks of these receivers of Edmonton, in the sense that they know once Damon starts to scramble around, to keep working hard on their routes, find an open spot, and he'll be able to try to get the ball to you. That's exactly what he did. He was just over the line of scrimmage.
Pressure coming up the middle, but Harper gets the punt away. Foodie lets it bounce at the 15. And he brings it back to the 22-yard line with J.P. Esquerdo making the tackle. 7:40 is the time remaining in the game. A 46-yard punt, a 7-yard run back. Flutie now handling the punt return chores with an injury to Lonnie Turner. Scott, can you update us on that?
Well, Don, with respect to Lonnie Turner, he's popped cartilage on his rib cage and has already gone to the locker room, so his night is over. And unfortunate also that Danny McManus jammed his thumb on Corey Philpott's elbow, the thumb on his throwing hand. He was having a near perfect night, no interceptions, no fumbles, and he will not return tonight.
So that means Danny Barrett will finish the game for the BC Lions. First and 10. Barrett slipped as he tried to set up the throw, and then he's caught by Hunter.
Hunter doing an excellent job that time of maintaining his containment outside, was able to fight as Danny Barrett was just going to run kind of a counter boot. He came out, and as he started to set up his right leg, right at the last minute, boom, slips out from under me, loses his balance. Melvin Hunter continues on a good hard rush upfield and able to get the sack.
Back at the 18-yard line. It will be 2nd and 14 for the BC Lions. 6:36 remaining in the game. Handoff inside to Millington. A penalty flag in the play as well. Millington with big yardage all the way up to the 48. Stopped there by Roberts. But it is going to be a holding call that will bring this one back. Ian Sinclair is standing there with Ken Lazaruk.
Holding, BC number 55.
Oh, boy.
2nd down repeated.
That's holding call number 4 against the BC center.
He's had his hands full with Tony Woods all night long. Then here we go right inside. Here's Ian Sinclair. Here's Tony Woods going to make it as he makes the move inside. Watch and see Ian Sinclair get called for the holding. Goes around him, pulls him down. Just a little arm bar as he takes him down.
And that has wiped out some really good running by Sean Millington once for a touchdown. 2nd and 24. 6:10 remaining. This time Barrett will run. And Larry Ruck brings him down at the 24.
Excellent job that time by Danny Barrett as he came out on the bootleg by himself. All the receivers were covered downfield, and he knew for a fact, all I got to do, I got to get this ball up as close to that first down as I possibly can so that we at least have a decent field position for Louis Pasaglia to come out and kick the ball.
Eddie Brown and Henry Williams are back for Lou Pasaglia's 3rd down punt. Although it is still raining quite heavily at Commonwealth Stadium, in the last couple of minutes it appears to have eased up from the downpour of about 10 minutes ago. Again, Pasaglia angles it out of bounds. No opportunity for a return with 5:33 remaining in the game.
It was early in the day with all systems A-OK.
This is Control. What's that noise?
This is Control. That was Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Say again?
Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
What's in it?
That's 2 scoops of plump, juicy raisins and whole grain flakes with bran.
They were all set to go, but he just had to know.
How many scoops?
2. 2 scoops of raisins in a package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Off the engines.
Hold on. 2.
Where's that Kellogg's Raisin Bran?
Unless you spend a small fortune, all you get from most car companies is bare bones. But in Hyundai's More Car for Your Cash event, you get quality features, like more room than Camry or Accord from this luxurious Sonata, only $11,995. Or enjoy sporty performance from the Scoop for only $10,495. Both with no charge automatic and one of the best warranties. Hyundai's More Car for Your Cash event. Feature for feature, your best value. No bones about it.
The 2 fearless space explorers board their intergalactic spacecraft. Destination unknown. But personally, I think space travel is highly overrated.
The way it's been raining in some parts of Western Canada this summer, I didn't think it was possible there would be any more moisture left in those clouds, but quite a downpour hitting Commonwealth Stadium tonight. Our next game will feature the unbeaten Calgary Stampeders at home to the Ottawa Rough Riders a week tonight. 47-22 last night, the Stampeders defeating the Riders in the nation's capital. The rematch at McMahon Stadium. Sandusky was the man. Foggy, now in at quarterback, was looking to. Incomplete. There's a penalty flag in the play. An interference call against the BC Lions.
Forward pass interference.
So that will provide the Edmonton Eskimos with an automatic first down. 5:24 remains.
Right at the last minute, O.J. Brigance comes out the right-hand side. And I think it was John McNeil coming from up the middle that got the late hit on Ricky Foggy.
With the penalty, 1st and 10, Edmonton. The ball at the 45-yard line. The Gizmo lined up wide left and 0-0. Les Brown went over with him. Now the Gizmo goes back as they are going to huddle up again.
Well, Giz went over just wide enough that he could hear what Coach Lancaster wanted him to say before he went back into the huddle to tell Ricky Foggy.
Earlier, they faked a hitch screen to Gizmo and managed to hit Eddie Brown going deep. The two are lined up wide left once again. And Foggy is looking in that direction, but swings it out to Michael Souls, and a good defensive play by veteran James West. You know, he's 36 years of age, but the way he plays, it belies the fact that he is nearing the end of his career.
I don't think, again, I think James could play a little while longer if he wants to, because he is playing with such intensity out there and such inspiration to this BC defense. He's a mainstay.
2nd and 10. Foggy out of the shotgun. He's got the Gizmo on the sidelines, and he makes the catch, but he'll be short of a first down. Forced out of bounds by Les Brown.
Giz doing a good job this year as far as getting himself involved in the offense, not only just as a special teams guy that he was noted for the past few years, but now he is a very competent receiver and a deep threat at any time.
It's amazing when you look at the statistics for the Gizmo. 19 punt return touchdowns, 14 hauled back by penalties. 3rd and 2. Blake Marshall trying to get a first down. It's going to be close. The Lions may have stopped him.
It sure depends on the spot on that, because the BC Lions did an extremely good job of stopping him what I thought was short of the 35-yard line.
The Lions think they've done the job. It will depend on the spots. It appears to be shy of the 35-yard line. If that's the case, I don't think they've got it. 4:20, the time remaining. 36-23, the Lions in front.
I've been extremely impressed with the style of defense BC has played tonight. Very aggressive, very disciplined, and very inspired.
And the Lions stopped the Eskimos on a 3rd down gamble. Blake Marshall continued trying to drive forward, but Doug Hawking, after the initial contact had been made by James West, was able to push him back.
And McCready was the man that got real good penetration after his nose tackle position and able to get around the legs of Blake Marshall.
1st and 10, the ball at the 30-yard line. Barrett gives inside to Sean Millington. And he picks up about 1 yard before being stopped by Tony Woods. And man, center Ian Sinclair has had all sorts of problems with tonight. Ron Lancaster, through 4 games this year, has seen his team give up just 45 points. Tonight, 36 points.
Well, this is the kind of season that it has been. He knew his defense was going to have to play, as I said earlier, play well early in this season. But again, it gets to a point where sometimes the defense are going to have bad nights. They're going to have a lull in what their performance has been. And that's time when the offense has to help out and score a few extra points, and it offsets one another.
2nd and 9 BC with 3:20 remaining. Barrett had 2 receivers, Flutie and Clark, slip and fall, and it appears as though Damian Lyons is going to be called for pass interference. Or is it going to be offensive interference?
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 10. Intentional. Automatic first down, a point of foul.
You're right the first time. I'm going to buy you one of those zebra shirts sometime. You've been pretty good on the calls tonight.
Like a politician, I'm straddling both sides of the fence. Might be defensive interference, could be offensive interference.
You wanted to kind of pad your bets on both cases a little bit, huh?
First and 10. The ball is at the 48-yard line. Philpott back in the ball game. Philpott breaks through to the 50 where he's upset by Murphy, but this is another BC first down. 2:50 the time remaining here at Commonwealth Stadium.
Back for a sizzling summer, Ear to the Ground, starring Marin Cadell, Thomas Trio and the Red Albino, Cassandra Bassick, Spirit of the West, Dream Warriors, The Rankin Family, Bare Naked Ladies, and many more. Ear to the Ground, Tuesday night at 11:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Television.
This week on The Country Beat, interviews with Chris Christopherson, Shania Twain, Vern Chichu, and we'll have a special behind-the-scenes look at Farm Aid. We'll also have videos from Dean Dillon, Laurie Morgan, and a whole lot more.
Tonight on CBC.
He's a tough cop who's got everything under control. Everything but his mom. Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot on the CBC Wednesday night movie.
Sunday. This is where glory shines. Where all the sacrifice and tears turn to gold. Faster. Farther. Higher. Longer. Striving to be the best. Be there when Canada's athletic youth gather in Kamloops for the Canada Games. The opening ceremonies, Sunday.
We've remarked several times about how impressed we've been with the play of the Lions tonight. BC scored 24 points in the second quarter. Consider this. Through the first 4 games, the Edmonton Eskimos had only given up a total of 13 points in the first half of any of the football games they'd played this year.
Well, it certainly is a compliment, as I say, to the offensive coordinator, Joe Powell, and Dave Ritchie and his staff over there. The theory that they had to come in to attack a very potent Edmonton Eskimo defense.
First and 10. Millington with a 10-yard run, and as he looks back, I'm sure he's relieved to see there are no penalty flags, negating another pretty good effort.
Good effort by both of these running backs, Philpott and Millington at this time. They've got to realize they've got to really tuck that ball away, wrap it up with both hands, because the Edmonton Eskimos defense will be tackling for the ball. They need to cause a fumble, cause a big play and a turnover right now.
The BC Lions returning home for a pair of games. They've got the Toronto Argonauts next Thursday, and then on the 18th, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Edmonton Eskimos are now entering the tough part of their schedule. They go on the road for games in Winnipeg next Friday, and then the Eskimos will travel to Toronto for an August 18th game. So the two teams have the same foes in the next 10 days as they attempt to break the deadlock for second place that will almost certainly exist, barring a tremendous comeback by the Eskimos in the final 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Millington, the ball carrier, he stopped after a pickup of about a yard and a half.
Very concerned Ron Lancaster right there. He knows for a fact that the defense has to come up with a big play right now, come up with some type of turnover, get the ball back in the hands of either Ricky Foggy or Damon Allen.
You know, it's interesting. Lancaster was telling us yesterday, he said, offensively, we've had no reason to open up and freewheel the way the defense has been playing. But in a game such as we're witnessing tonight, that theory would have to change. Ryan Hansen Hansen, the ball carrier, and he will get about 3 or 4 yards, taking the clock down to 1:41 with Willie Pless making the tackle.
Willie with good pursuit inside. Just a counter trap coming back inside. You can see 62 Vic Stevenson pulling. All he knows is his read is when he's pulling there for a reason. He gets right in his hip, follows it, and it takes him right to the ball carrier, Ryan Hansen.
Willie Pless of Edmonton, among current CFL players, leads in defensive tackles. Greg Battle of Winnipeg is second. Lou Pasaglia will attempt a 46-yard field goal. It's long enough. It's good. And that will put the capper almost certainly on a BC victory as they now lead 39-23. Dave Ritchie has to be very pleased with the way his team has performed. The Lions started the season with victories at home over Saskatchewan, on the road against Toronto. Then they lost 2 games to Winnipeg, in Winnipeg, and at home to Calgary. But last week they defeated the Ottawa Roughriders and are looking for a second straight win tonight.
Well, we talked about a little bit about history and tradition being restored back in the Eskimos. You got to look back a while. This team has won a lot of games in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Penalty flag as the pass is intended for Williams. It falls well short of the mark. Les Brown was defending against Williams. The call is going against Edmonton, and James West says take him back.
Holding, Edmonton number 22. First down repeated.
The holding call against Blake Marshall. And it will now be 1st and 20 back at the 25-yard line.
First and 20, ball on the 45.
1:17 remaining. Sandusky wide right. Williams left. Foggy operating from the shotgun. Foggy with time throws underneath to Eddie Brown, and Eddie Brown is caught and taken down by Zoc Allen.
Excellent job. There's James West, 36 years old, and just roaming the middle. Comes in there and makes a good, clean tackle. Throws that big club, that cast out there, and knocks the feet out of Eddie Brown.
Foggy throwing deep. This one could be picked off. No, Andre Francis went up high, and Jim Sandusky came back and really cut him down, and I think Dave Ritchie has reason to be a little upset. He thought there should have been a penalty call on the play as Andre Francis was going up for an interception, and Sandusky came back and really cut him down.
The ball was thrown way over Andre Francis's head, and as Sandusky came back, it's very uncharacteristic of him, because I think Jim Sandusky is a very class act. There was no reason for him to have to cut the legs out from underneath Andre Francis. If anything, what he had to become is from offensive player to defensive back, and at least keep him from intercepting the ball.
51 seconds remaining in the game. Glenn Harper had not gone onto the field, and there was some confusion on the part of the Eskimo punting team. Pretty difficult to kick the ball when your kicker isn't out there.
Well, you never know. It's always, you got to second guess some of the decisions that goes on, but with 51 seconds to go, why are you kicking the ball when you're 16 points down?
Flutie waits for it, takes it at the 47. Good downfield tackle by Dixon. And he stopped right at the 45. 41 seconds remaining for the BC Lions to take off the clock for their 3rd win of the season, the 2nd loss of the year for the Edmonton Eskimos. Well, Ron Lancaster hasn't got much to be pleased with tonight, but on the other side, I think Dave Ritchie might finally be smiling.
Exactly. Just while we have a moment, I'd just like to just say a very heartfelt prayers and thoughts out to Danny Barrett's family and parents And hopefully that I know that he's such a class act and such a strong individual that he'll be able to endure this pain that he's suffering.
They're referring, of course, to the death of his brother in Florida this past week.
And if you take a good look at him, you see, even though all the things that have taken place, he'll be able to muster up a smile, and he knows that he's in charge out there, and he's a man that when he comes to work, it's time to do work, and it's time to go to business.
Danny really didn't expect play in the football game tonight, but the injury to McManus forced him to come in. But it was Danny McManus who put this victory on the board for the BC Lions. 15 seconds remaining. And it will be third down BC, and as James West looks on. Joe Pau gets an appreciative hug from head coach Dave Ritchie. So Danny Barrett will simply take a knee as the final seconds tick away, and the BC Lions return home for a pair of games against Toronto and Winnipeg with a very impressive 39-23 win over the Edmonton Eskimos, a team that up until tonight had the best defensive record in the league.
Well, it certainly did, and I think that when they came in, it showed that this was a great challenge that the BC offense and defense rose to tonight. And again, their specialty teams did extremely well, so this was a very well-balanced win for the BC Lions. And it's a situation where the Edmonton Eskimos have to go back to the drawing board and see if they can correct the mistakes that were made today and improve, because you don't have very much time. You've got to make those corrections very quickly and improve and win a ball game next week.
Well, these teams will meet again on October the 29th at BC Place Stadium. Tonight they were battling for second place, and the BC Lions moved into a tie with Edmonton for the number 2 position in the West, behind the undefeated Calgary Stampeders. The final score tonight, the BC Lions 39, the Edmonton Eskimos 23.
Since 1877, these British courts have handed down verdicts of international importance. Here in a place called Wimbledon, in a city called London, and Canadian Airlines International can bring you here. Because with service to 7 European cities, we bring Canada to the rest of the world.
At Participaction, we're seeing how active living makes a difference to the environment and our future.
We know that walking is good for us.
Choosing to walk or cycle instead of driving are easy ways to save gas and reduce pollution.
Just little things, just a little bit, walking to the store or stuff like that. And we're all doing our little bit. Our parents tried to provide us with something. We'd like to pass something on and sort of instill that in him.
Gardening is good for you. And by composting, we reduce yard waste.
It keeps me in good shape. You get concentrating on something that you really enjoy and all your troubles disappear. It's good physically, it's good mentally. All my leaves and lots of neighbors' leaves go into the compost pile. Reuse it if you can. It recycles, and that's what life's about these days.
Go for green with active living. A choice for everyone's future. Moving your way every day. Participaction.
Look at me. Look.
Stand off to the side, guys.
What is the highlight with him?
Traffic.
What's the highlight with James? Okay.
A million locations around the world. Virtually anywhere there's a phone. American Express traveler's checks. Insist on them.
Stingiest defense in the CFL was very generous tonight, much more so than expected, and because of it, the Lions claim a 39-23 victory. over the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth Stadium. The debut of Dan McManus as the Lions starting quarterback, an unqualified success, hindered only by a fourth-quarter injury. He was proficient, to say the least. This touchdown to Trevathan, one of 4 he threw in the game, and ensured the Lions' victory. Touchdown came in the second half. And Dan, your stats were 28 for 41 and 370 yards. It's a pretty good night's work.
Yeah, I mean, it all begins with the offensive line. Those guys up front did a great job with some protection, and our game plan was not for me to hold on to the ball too long, do some quick drops, get quick throws, and let the guys that get paid for running the ball do it.
Let's get an update on the injury. A jammed thumb is nothing to be toyed with when you're a quarterback and it's on your throwing hand.
Yeah, it was on a touchdown pass to Mike. I hit Corey Philpott, I think, either in the shoulder or in the helmet. It's one of those things I can't get a grip on the ball. As far as squeezing or anything like that, it's one of those injuries that if it was on my left hand, wouldn't have been a problem.
There's the team doctor trying to get the thumb back in place. Well, I guess it didn't actually pop out, but he was trying to see if he could get you some relief, and apparently could not.
No, it got bent back, and I just couldn't get any squeeze on the ball, and we tried to get some blood flow down there. It just kept throbbing like a toothache, but you know, Dan did a great job coming in there and helping me out.
Danny, you didn't get the start tonight for reasons of performance. In fact, for reasons of tragedy involving Danny Barrett. Not the way you expected to start. How did you handle it with respect to that?
It was a tough deal because me and Danny are pretty close, and I know what it's like to lose a loved one. But emotionally on the practice field, we kind of left that on the side and concentrated on football. And all the guys wanted to rally around and win one for Danny here because we know it's a tough deal going down there and burying someone that you really love.
Well, he's a strong person, and he's got through a lot of tragedy. We know he'll get through this, and I'm sure the team feels the same way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is a strong guy, very strong-willed, and you know, his presence just coming back here for this game meant a lot to us.
All right, Dan, congratulations on the victory. Full value for it tonight.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It was a good one.
Well, the night would not be complete if we didn't pay tribute to the way the Lions defense played tonight. And here's a brief example of how they handled the Eskimo offense at Commonwealth Stadium this evening. The veteran, 36-year-old James West stopping Eddie Downtown Brown. This, as I say, typical of the control that the Lions defense exhibited tonight. And James containing the Edmonton quarterbacks was a key to this victory. That worked out almost letter perfect.
Yeah, it did work out pretty well. We know coming to the game that they would have very tight splits, and we wanted to come up the corner and tame them that way. It worked out pretty well for us the whole game, but I think the key to us winning this game tonight was the offense eating up a lot of time on the clock.
Is the defense now playing the way the defensive master Dave Ritchie perhaps envisioned at the start of the season when he acquired the load of veterans from around the league?
Well, we played up to par tonight, but we're still not where we want to be. We still got a couple of areas where we need to improve. And one of our most important areas we need to improve is our silly mistakes that we continue to make. Once we get those ironed out, get our mental attitude and mental errors out of the way, we'll be a very good defense.
Well, you were every bit of that tonight.
Well, I thought we played decent, but we got a long way to go.
James, thanks for your time. Again, congratulations on the victory.
All right, thank you. I want to say hello to my friend Barry and his family in Winnipeg, and God bless.
And might we say you don't look 36 years of age, a point we made several times over tonight.
Thanks a lot. Hey, Mail and Corey in Vancouver. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, tonight.
Again, saving the cost of a phone call. So the Lions claim a major victory, 39-23 at Commonwealth Stadium tonight. Back in a moment.
This isn't the most important reason to give money to Kids Help Phone. Neither is this. As hard as it may be to believe, neither is this. Even this isn't the reason. Sadly and terribly, this is the most important reason to give money to Kids Help Phone.
Saturday from McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the Secretary of Defense Angelo Snipes of the Ottawa Roughriders chases down Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders. The CFL on CBC, Saturday at 8 Eastern.
Here we go, Dan. Back live now at Commonwealth Stadium, where mercifully for this reporter, the rain has stopped, but I can tell you the damage has been done. I'm soaked. The significance of this game is that the Lions and the Eskimos are still in the second place race, but the Lions move ahead of Edmonton with a record of 4-2 now. They've got 8 points. Calgary still the class of the West Division, unbeaten after last night's win in Ottawa. Saskatchewan very much in the race with a major road victory last night in Hamilton. Sacramento with 1 victory. And atop the East standings are Winnipeg and Hamilton, both at 3-2. Ottawa's on a 4-game losing streak. The Argonauts won their first of the season a couple of nights ago against Sacramento. Don?
Well, the BC Lions, Dan, came up with a very impressive performance tonight. An unexpected performance in view of the fact that they were going with basically their second-string quarterback against the best defense in the league. Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised that much about McManus. As I said before, it wasn't like they were bringing a rookie or a young player into the starting position. They came in with a very veteran quarterback. Their defense played extremely well. Dave Ritchie is starting to incorporate a number of people and making a few changes over on that defensive side that are starting to get some continuity together. And once they get continuity, look out, they could be pretty scary.
Well, statistically, the BC Lions had a big edge tonight with Danny McManus throwing the football. They picked up 548 net yards as opposed to 293 for the Eskimos. Time of possession a big factor, and one of the keys was a second quarter drive engineered by Danny McManus. He took them 109 yards in 11 plays.
Well, it looked like a problem to begin with because it was a deep punt that was fielded by Lonnie Turner, and a punt that maybe he should have let go in for a single point, but then all of a sudden they get a penalty. It backs it up even further, I think all of about another yard. But a great confidence builder and running the ball down 109 yards, as you said.
So with the victory, the BC Lions in second place in the West. The Calgary Stampeders still undefeated, of course. And now the Lions return home for a pair of games against Toronto and Winnipeg, while the Eskimos have to go on the road for a couple of games, and they enter the tough part of the schedule.
Well, it certainly is going to be a tough game, and for them, they're going to have to show some of the championship quality that they possess, rise up to the occasion, make some changes, and then go and play another game next week.
So a big win tonight for the BC Lions as they knock off the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth Stadium. Scott?
Okay, then, Don, in Edmonton, I would say the word is out. The Eskimos have a defense that can be had, and the Lions, led by Danny McManus, surely had it tonight. The Eskimos had given up an average of 11 points per game coming into this one, but in this game, they surrender 39 and lose it 39-23, and as a result, the Lions are now in second place, 2 points ahead of the Eskimos. Our next game is a week tonight. It's the second half of the Ottawa-Calgary home-and-home series, this one in Calgary, after the Stampeders claimed victory in Ottawa last night to go to 6-0. Rough Riders 1-4 and on a 4-game losing streak. And don't forget to be with us tomorrow on CBC Sports for the opening ceremonies of the Canada Games. Thanks for watching tonight, and good night from Edmonton.
CBC Sports, home of the champions.
This is CBC, Public Broadcasting.
Day after day, something very special happens right here, right before your eyes. Every day, a uniquely Canadian television network takes to the air. It's distinct. It's essential. It brings Canadians of all ages, of all kinds, together. And you are at its heart.